I can see my cat's in this like really mischievous like mood, and when it gets like that, it's just gonna cause trouble. Oh, for fuck's sake! There she goes. Hang on a minute. I gotta sort this out. Come in, pussy. You're gonna get fucked.
We're gonna keep this in, right?
Hello, and welcome down to the abyssal lair of the Radiophonic Sea Creatures. Stick your fingers in the dike and pray, because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me, as always, are two little friends that also know that this city is like a big pussy just waiting to get fucked. It's Human Metal and Brack. How are you today? How are you, Human Metal?
Whose city?
Your city. What
Your
city are you
city.
in?
There's nothing going on in my city, so
That's why it's like
I-
a great pussy just waiting to get fucked.
Okay. All right. It's
How
also
are you,
dirty.
Michael?
I don't know.
Well, hey, let me tell you, pussies that wait to get fucked usually are dirty. Okay.
We need to get off this. Yeah. I have a small cold, but otherwise I'm fine. Haven't been done much gaming like in the past few weeks aside from Persona 5, if at all, and a bit of SNES games because I got an SNES Mini. So yeah, aside from that, everything fine. I watched some TV shows, so I don't know. I assume Bragg also watched at least one of those as too, and that is Stranger Things, the second season.
Nope.
Not yet. All right.
Not
You
Okay.
yet.
are wrong about Brack, but I, however, have also been watching Stranger Things, and Stranger Things is also on my list, Human Metal. So
That's amazing.
there we go. Let's get it on. What do you think about Stranger Things?
I think the
Wait! No spoilers for Brack's sake, because he is
Yeah.
I
he
think-
has not seen it yet, and he's going to.
I think the second season is as good as the first one.
Yep.
Better in some parts, worse in some others. It's like it's a bit of a mixed bag, but yeah, overall I think the pacing is a bit better. You know, some of the character storylines don't pan out as well as in the first one, but you know, some new side characters are kind of like, do we need them? Some are amazing, and yeah, I think the second season was really great. I had a lot of fun with it, and only one bigger grievance, and I'm really looking forward to more. If Netflix is still around for much longer, we'll see.
Yeah,
What?
they certainly are. They certainly are digging themselves a hole with
Yeah.
the debt.
Mm-hmm.
They're just digging themselves a huge pit of debt, Brack, by making like all these original shows and movies and stuff, and they're just digging. There doesn't seem to be any end to how much debt they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, but that's the same with like every huge company at the moment, right? Like Amazon is the same way, and I don't see Amazon
but
going
Amazon
anywhere quick.
Yeah, but Amazon has, other things they can maybe,
Yeah.
fall back on. Netflix doesn't really have that.
I mean, also it wouldn't be as bad if Netflix, was the sole competitor. They had such a stranglehold on the market, but now Hulu and Amazon and stuff are really starting to combat and really starting to.
Not where I live though.
Yeah. Well, Amazon is pretty strong here, and yeah.
Hulu is the dominant
Sky.
brand here. Yeah, is the dominant brand in Japan. However, I tend to go with Netflix because their original stuff just tends to appeal to me more. Of which Stranger Things is one of them, and I watched the first season of Stranger Things with my daughter. We enjoyed the shit out of that together. It was great. In fact, I think I watched it twice. I watched it once by myself, then introduced it to my daughter, and did that. But we've gone through Stranger Things 2 together. From the off, I've not yet finished. I'm only up to episode 6, but yeah, it's just fucking excellent. I love it. I have no qualms with the show whatsoever. I think it's just fucking brilliant.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the character interactions. I love the way that certain characters interplay with other characters. I can't. I want to send out spoilers, but I can't for Brack's sake. But yeah, there's just like the teams that evolve in the show, because just like the first season, there was like certain like compartmentalized teams that went off and did their own thing, right?
Yeah.
And in this show, it's mostly the same, and I really like the group of characters that they stuck together. It's surprising and fun.
Yeah.
Like it's
just
really good fun.
Character-wise, I think the only problem with I had were like the new add-ons, like the teenage asshole brother and her and his sister, who come basically into town and get kind of get integrated into that story. And I think while Mac, the girl was fine, I think her brother was like, they didn't do really much with him. Like he was like this distant threat, and then they didn't really do anything with that, and there was or nothing too consequential. I was like, okay, I expected more from that. Like, well, him making the situation more dire than he did. So.
Okay, well, I didn't really expect that. I don't really expect him to be a huge part. I just expect him to be an asshole. But he is detestable, though. He's such a fucking prick.
On the other spectrum, you got Bob, who's like probably one of the most amazing characters ever, and I think everybody loved him. Yeah, he was great. So, yeah.
I was convinced he was some kind of spy or something until, it became obviously apparent that he was not, with him very quickly, though. That's not a spoiler, Bragg. This is just like...
No, he's just...
Oh, this guy's a planted bad guy. No, he's not.
No, he's just a good guy. He's
just the nicest guy in the world.
He's not too good to be true. He's just that good.
He's just got terrible taste in music. He's got terrible taste in films, but he's like the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
And
I think they picked John Astin.
Oh, it's just like you then, except for like being the nicest guy ever.
Yes, Bragg, just like me. Yeah. Except he has hair. But yeah,
you're gonna watch it eventually, right?
I'm gonna watch it eventually. I'm watching it with my sister, so we gonna take it slowly.
The other show
take it slowly with the sister. Oh Jesus.
Why are you such a creepy guy?
He's from Japan.
Yeah.
They love their Wincest and everything. So there you go.
Well, hang on. One more closing note on Stranger Things 2. Like, because like I watched episode 6. Well, I'm not gonna no spoilers here, but episode 6 is an episode where shit happens and there are all kind of action sequences and stuff, and it's kind of like I think it's the first real payoff episode. Kind of I was freaking the fuck out because I swore to God my favorite character was going to die in that episode. I was just like, no. Oh man, it's so badass. Love it.
A nice teaser for a possible third season. So yeah, the other show I watched is a superhero show called The Gifted, which is set in the X-Men universe and is kind of about a guy, a lawyer, I think he is, who helps like the government pursue and like find and incarcerate mutants. And then things turn around when his kids turn out to be mutants, and he has a crisis of consciousness and or conscience, and he's like, okay, I can't like.
Crisis of consciousness. He just got knocked out.
Yeah, knocked out. And he's like, okay, I have to like protect my kids. I don't want them to end up like all the people I helped put into jail. So yeah, he like helps them escape, and they end up with like a bunch of with a group of mutants who help them escape, and they help them vice versa and stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty neat. I didn't expect it to be that good, actually, because the most recent X-Men movie I didn't really like, and the Fox series in that regard, I didn't know what to expect, and especially since the mainline Marvel TV series haven't been that good recently, like Iron Fist, Defenders, and Inhumans. Good God. But I thought, okay, if Marvel can't do it anymore, apparently can't work their magic, what chance does fucking Fox have? But apparently this is a good show. It's enjoyable. It's got a neat cast, and not only like no-name mutants. I recognize some of them. The Blink is in there, Jonathan Proudstar, and Polaris. Like those are names I've come across when reading a bit of X-Men. I was like, okay, this is cool. They actually put some characters with their powers in here that actually exist, and not only like in one issue or something like that. So this, and they're not like super coy about this being part of the X-Men universe like Daredevil is with the rest of Marvel universe. When they talk about the invasion of New York, they're like, oh yeah, the thing that happened, blah blah blah. Like they're super vague about
the giant green guy.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like they mention the X-Men. They're like, nobody knows if the X-Men exist anymore. What's happening? And the Brotherhood of mutants and stuff like that. Are we supposed to go to them? And it's like, okay, this name dropping. They acknowledge that this the force that hunts them down, the government force, is called the Sentinel unit or Sentinel Force. So this is all like very heavily integrated into the X-Men universe, and it feels like people did their homework, and it's enjoyable. It's cool. So
Blink also the same character, same actress as it was in Days of Future Past?
I didn't check that, but she looked at least familiar. So yeah, maybe, sure.
But is it as good as Legion?
Probably not, because that comes from a truly creative mind. This is more like popcorn, enjoyable family X-Men stuff, while Legion was like something that was trying to go into kind of an artsy direction. So this is kind of for a different audience, but it's so far it's good. It's not bad stuff.
I have a mild question that let's not get into like a 10-minute rant here, but is Legion worth watching?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Definitely.
All right, because it's out at the DVD shop, but I actually need to go rent it if I want to watch it. So I might actually watch that, because good TV shows are hard to come by. That's kind of sarcastic. It's not really.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy Fargo?
Yes.
It's by the same guy, and you can see the handiwork.
Well, that reminds me, I haven't watched Fargo season 2 yet. Jesus, I should probably get on that.
Season 2? You haven't even seen. This is already season 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I should. I loved season 1 as well, so I should probably get around to that.
All right.
All right, Brack, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. What have I been watching? I've been watching this Netflix show called Mindhunter. It's the show from David Fincher. It's about the criminal science unit of the FBI while they're like interviewing with serial killers into finding like a way to capture new serial killers when they come around. And this is even before they even had the term serial killer. Like this show is set before that period of time. It's like a very like slow moving, pretty dark thriller. It seems the most like the other Fincher movie, Zodiac, more Zodiac than Seven for sure. Maybe a little bit of the book In Cold Blood in there as well. But it's very interesting, very gripping. I can only recommend it. It's a really good show.
Yeah. As soon as I'm done with Stranger Things 2, that's straight on my list. I'm going for Mindhunter next.
It's a very slow burn, but it's interesting.
I wouldn't watch this one with your daughter for sure.
No, I'm definitely not going to do that. But
well, there's not much. Well, there is graphic violence, but not that much that I would say. It's gonna bore her to death probably.
There's no graphic violence in like the first 5 minutes or something, so I think she'll be shocked before that happens.
I did kind of watch Shutter Island with her yesterday, like at least like 50% of it. But actually no, Human Metal's like arching his eyebrows. But if you look at Shutter Island, nobody. Oh wait, spoilers alert for Shutter Island here. Nobody actually dies in that film. No one. Literally no one.
Okay.
There's very little violence of any kind in Shutter Island. But anyway, I watched a David Fincher film just recently. The absolute masterpiece that was Alien 3. Yeah. No,
which version?
Of course, the extended version, Human Metal. Yeah. No one ever watches the original these days. But still, even with the extended version, which is 100% better than the original version, it's still shit. All these years later, it's still bad. Mostly because like those alien effects of the alien just look like they're straight out of an anime. Like it looks like a cartoon alien in the real world. It's so badly done. How did they get the effects so wrong in that film? I don't know, but apart from that, if those effects were good, like I think Alien 3, the extended version, could survive. like as a decent film. But the effects are just every time you see that alien,
What's
like it just pulls you out.
Yeah, what surprised me, I thought like that was like the first bad attempt or one of the first bad attempts at CG, but there's only one CG scene in that movie. The rest is a puppet in front of a green screen. It looks just really
by the
weird.
way, I want to add something there. It's nominated for the Oscar for best effects visual.
Oh my God, no! It's terrible. It's awful.
True.
Oh, it's
I mean that final
so
scene
bad.
where like the liquid metal gets poured over its head and then it explodes. That is the CG part, and I think that could have looked worse at that time. Yeah. I think it just looks bad when the alien is running and everything because the way they filmed that, I don't know what they were thinking. It was
one of the most
fucking puppet, man.
One of the most iconic alien shots from that movie. Like if you Google Alien, like post or something, you always get the shot from Alien 3 where it's like Ripley sideways and that like the alien.
Yeah, that's good though. That's good though because that's actually just a rubber head, you know, like coming there. That's obviously like real time effects because that's the thing you can tell in that movie. All the genuine effects of a guy in a rubber suit are great in Alien 3. All the stuff with the puppet is just bullshit. It's total shit. It's just totally awful stuff. But the thing is, like the extended version is so much better than the original version. The theatrical cut of Alien 3 is so much better. That if they had decent effects, it would have been a workable film. Definitely. It still wouldn't have been as good as the first two, but it would have been good at least or decent. But fucking studio interference, man. I can totally understand why David Fincher lost his shit with that film.
Yeah, I will never forgive that movie for like ruining the nice setup we got at the end of Aliens and then just fucking killing off all these other characters just for the sake of it. And
James Cameron agrees with you.
Yeah, fuck that.
I've literally heard James Cameron rant on that before. He's like, he doesn't appreciate Alien 3 because he said like he went to so much effort to save more people than Ripley just to have the next movie come out and just like kill them off anyway. And apparently his reaction was like, well, fuck that, I'm done with this.
And not even kill them throughout the course of the movie, you know, with another alien or something, and give them like just this undignified like fucking death. And fucking body of what's her name like gets used as a prop to maybe the alien like inhabited her, like fuck this, no. I don't like that.
Although they did have a good funeral scene. That funeral scene was probably the best scene in the film, I think, where they threw the bodies into the furnace. Apart from the end scene with Bishop and Ripley, that's like those are the two great scenes.
Some guy from Alien 3 is actually one of the main characters in Mindhunter.
All right, yeah. Which one?
Junior. I'm not sure. I haven't watched the movie.
Junior?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's like one of the really, really, really tiny minor characters. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I did say he was a big character there, but he's great in Mindhunter, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, so okay, you go first. I got another one, just a quick thing. So.
All right, you better go for it because I think I just accidentally stumbled on. We talked about Alien 3 way more than we should have. So
something that will make you very happy because you were a great advertiser, and both Breck and I were super down on that show for good reason, in my opinion. But since the second season got on Netflix now, I went back and started watching Gotham again.
Oh yes.
And I watched all through the end of the second season. And once that series like really heavily leans into its own bullshit and its own ridiculousness, it gets actually fun. I agree with that. I really enjoyed the second season of that. It is super dumb. It's still kind of trashy, but it's very enjoyable because once they don't try to make this like a blend of the fucking serious Nolan movies and the Tim Burton stuff, but completely go to the Burton side of things, where like, okay, this is crazy.
When they stop caring, you mean?
Yeah, or caring in another way. And once they finally find that tone and like get balls to the walls insane, and all the villains come in, and Hugo Strange comes in and everything, then it gets good. It gets really fun. Like the scene with the penguin at the fucking rocket launcher made me howl with laughter. I think
I always remember
it was such an amazing ending for the fucking for the guy. Like I love it. So yeah, I am looking forward to the third season coming to Netflix eventually.
Yeah, me too. Also, although he gets tons and tons and tons of shit, the guy who played the Joker, who's now playing the clown in It, his performance in Gotham season 2, towards the beginning of that season, was great. He was
that the same guy?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The guy who plays the Joker is the guy who plays the
I
clown.
thought they were different people.
I don't know. I'm just going for the fact that they look insanely similar. I think that's the same guy, but don't quote me on that. I've
don't
not checked
think
it.
so, but yeah, sure.
All right.
They're not the same guy, by the way. Just saying.
All right.
Like,
Fair enough.
You're full of shit like always, but it's
I'm
okay.
not full of shit.
Okay.
I just made a mistake. I made a genuine mistake. It's just they look incredibly similar, though. At least give me that, right?
Sure.
I really hated the guy playing Joker on Gotham.
But he's he's that's because you've only seen the one episode he's in, Brack. You haven't seen his contribution to season 2, which is great. He's genuinely fun. It's lot. Every time he's on screen, it's fun. Fun things are happening. Like that's where it goes, you know. But he's not actually the Joker. He's worse than the Joker.
He's a fake out.
Yeah, he's the guy who inspired the Joker, which is possibly worse from a comic book geek standpoint. But still, he's great though. He's entertaining as fuck. So
I won't forgive them for calling Victor Fries Victor Fries though. It's just sort of fucking. Yeah, sure, it might be pronounced like that in the real world, but don't just, it's an established character. Don't fucking do it because you think you're cleverer, because you're not. That's not clever at all. And they make Bullock go, yeah, I told you it was pronounced that way. I'm like, oh, fuck off. He's called Victor Fries. He's always been called Victor Fries because it sounds like Mr. Freeze, and that, makes it work. So shut the fuck up. You're not more clever. Definitely not.
Well, so I guess I should get something in other than Alien 3. Something completely unrelated to Alien is the fact that recently I've been replaying Alien Isolation. So that's such a fucking amazing game. I think my second playthrough of Alien Isolation has really seriously put that within my favorite games of all time. It was already great, but the thing is with Alien Isolation, the first time I played it, it was so fucking scary. I couldn't play it for more than 30 minutes without my hands starting to shake, and I went through it at an absolute fucking snail's pace. I really had that thing where I would get in a locker and I wouldn't come out for 20 minutes. Because I was so scared of getting out of that locker, and that affected me through the first 30 hours of the game. However, since then I actually managed to push through and finish that game. And going into it the second time, I can manage my fear, which is great. I mean, sure, sometimes it still scares me when the alien comes out of the vents and it's right on my ass. My ass still puckers up. And every time I have to deal with those fucking androids, which frankly I find more scary than the aliens on the second run through. With their creepy dead eyes saying stuff to you like, stay calm, there is no need to panic, while literally trying to strangle you to death. Those are fucking creepy, man. But
at least the alien gets angry.
Yes, exactly. The fear is manageable, the second time through. So I'm going through it at a much higher pace and enjoying the details of the world. It's just such a great game. If you haven't played Alien Isolation, I highly recommend it. It's like a graphically beautiful horror roller coaster. Is brilliant. Everything you could ever want from an Alien game.
I will play that game. I will play that game when I get a VR headset eventually that supports that game, and then I will die of horror.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Heart attack. Everybody
does that game have VR?
I don't know. Does it support PSVR?
I don't think it does. No, it was made before PSVR, and they haven't upgraded it. I mean, it would be in quotes great in VR, but I will never play it because I don't want to actually experience that. I don't.
If there's a PC version of that game, someone probably has already released an unofficial patch for the Oculus or the Vive for it. So I doubt that nobody is working on that.
Oh yeah, I just googled it. There is a VR mod for there on PC. But
there you go.
Fuck that shit. I'm not gonna play it. It's gonna just kill me.
Oh,
I'll do it.
That is, I think that would literally be bad for your health.
No,
not just your eyes.
I don't scare that easily of media. So, or let's say maybe I get too scared in certain things, but I really like to immerse myself in that stuff and get scared. It's not like, yeah, it's not really. I don't get scared in a way that like affects me like physically that much. It's just a cool feeling to get scared for me and then take off the headset and be like, wow, that was scary, cool, like that. So
Yeah, well, obviously I don't take Alien Isolation with me when I finish the game, but when I'm actually playing it, it's crackerjack scary. At least it was on the first playthrough. This time it's much more manageable, which I'm enjoying, thankfully. So I'm actually enjoying the world more this time, because I don't want to stop playing it just because I'm getting too scared this time. But the other game I have been playing finally is Fallout 4. So
No.
I found Fallout 4 for a very nice price. That was difficult not to buy it at. Basically, it was like $10 or something. So I was just like, for Fallout 4 for $10, I'll take that. It's fucking amazing. Holy shit, that game's excellent. Fuck me. Wow, fantastic stuff. Great. Like, I hated Fallout 3, so this is quite a surprise for me. I love Skyrim and I love Oblivion. During the same period I picked out Fallout 3, I just did not like it. Fallout 4 is a whole different bag of cats though. It's brilliant. And also, interestingly, this actually ties into what we're going to talk about in our main topic, but perceptions are very interesting. So like everybody told me like The Witcher 3 is one of the best games ever, the best game ever, best game ever. So I started playing The Witcher 3 and like with that game it's good, it's great, objectively it's great, but for some reason, for whatever reason, playing The Witcher 3 I never had as much fun as people said I should be having. So and it's one of those games I had to try to convince myself was good, if you know what I mean. It's like this game, yeah, this game's good, and it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Oh yeah, this game's but actually, on a kind of like visceral level, I wasn't really having that much fun. I mean, the most fun I had in Witcher 3 was playing Gwent. Like playing Gwent was.
I
Actually...
had the same experience with Gravity Rush because a friend of mine was really overhyping it. I was like, oh, this is amazing, and this controls so well, and this is an interesting thing. And I played it the way I played it, and man, when is this gonna get really good? I always was wrestling with the controls and everything, and I was like, okay, I don't quite get it. So, yeah.
I can totally understand that. We all have those, as we're going to talk about actually in the main topic. We'll have those things that everybody loves and you don't like, or the opposite way around. But I think The Witcher 3, when you come into the huge like Novigrad, which is the biggest city in the game, I think you should be excited, like, oh, I want to explore every nook and cranny of that. As soon as I got into that city, my interest is like, this is bothering as fuck. Like, it just went
so
the opposite
much
way.
To do. Chores.
Exactly that. I was
short.
just like, I just can't be bothered to play this game anymore. And my interest just dropped off and hasn't returned. And I don't really know what it is about The Witcher 3 that I'm not so keen on. I think it's the fact that it's all in the overworld, that there's no proper dungeons that I've come across. It's all like Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto. It's all in the overworld. There's no meat to anything. It's always like kind of like go here, kill this. As far as I could tell, and I don't know, for whatever reason that just didn't excite me. But however, Fallout 4 is a completely different game, and I'm totally like, I love that game. Like, it's got me in its claws properly. That whole thing of sneaking off to somewhere and there's somewhere you can go into, you go in there and there's a whole like dungeon in there, like things to kill and treasures to dig up, and I don't know, Fallout 4 has just totally got me by the balls. I love it. Yeah, any thoughts about Fallout 4, Brack? I know you've played it.
I enjoy it.
Wait. Fallout 4 versus The Witcher 3, go.
Witcher 3 easily.
Alright, fuck
yeah. But I liked Fallout 4. I think I actually like it more than a lot of people, because there are a lot of people out there who say that Fallout 3 and especially New Vegas are a lot better, but I really didn't enjoy New Vegas at all, and I prefer Fallout 4 to a lot of those. Mostly because Fallout 4, I think in a lot of ways it's actually a lot lesser than Fallout 3, but it actually plays so much better that it's a more enjoyable experience to me.
That is no fucking joke. It actually plays like a video game rather than a fucking, I don't know. It's terrible.
The difference is Fallout 3 plays like an RPG, and Fallout 4 plays like a good shooter.
Yeah, that's the thing. In Fallout 3, just to beat a dead horse to death again, even though it's already dead, would be like,
if you aim at a dead horse with a gun from a distance, you probably miss, even though you have a perfect aim on it.
yes, exactly. Fallout 3. Why? If it gives you a sniper rifle with a scope, what's the point in putting the trigger, or what's the point in aiming your shot, putting the trigger, only for the completely fucking miss? It's it's really stressful, where in Fallout 4 it doesn't do that. If you actually aim at a guy's head and you pull the trigger, 98% of the time it's going to hit the guy in the head. Like, Jesus.
So yeah, I enjoyed that as well. Like I said, the gunplay is so much better in Fallout 4. Like it plays like those Metro games. It plays a lot like those games, like a little bit slower than like a normal first-person shooter, but still it actually plays like a first-person shooter. And in Fallout 3, that's like just like an RPG. But on the other hand, I think Fallout 3 had a lot more depth in its story. I preferred the side missions in a lot of ways, and yeah. Some of the depth in like the RPG systems are also better, and like in the dialogue systems. But besides that, Fallout 4 is still like a great game. So yeah, it's a good game.
I love Fallout 4, and I'm liking it much more than The Witcher. But that's all about perception, isn't it? All about like opinions. You know, some things are very, very subjective. So who's next on the list? I think it's you, Brack, isn't it? What have you got next on your list, Brack?
Oh yeah, I was actually already talking until you just like took over my section. If you forgot about that, I was talking about Mindhunter, and you were like, "Fuck yeah, let's talk about Alien for like 5 minutes."
Well, this is. But what more can you say about Mindhunter without spoiling it, Brack? Anyway, continue.
But no, I'm done with Mindhunter. But I've also played Fury, which is a game they gave away for PS Plus. It's like an arcade game, very insanely difficult. It's like a bullet hell game mixed with a hack and slash. You're like this samurai who escapes from a prison, and you have to go to all the guards, like 10 different guards, 10 different bosses, and you have to defeat all those bosses, and then you finish the game. There's some story there as well, which is it's all right. It's not anything special, but the gameplay is so tight, and like the combat is so well done, so so good, and like it's just such a like difficult but satisfying game to play. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think Chuchu couldn't play it because he's too bad at video games, so he would like be stuck after the first level.
I was stuck after the first level and gave up. That's no joke. I literally was. But actually, Brack, while you and I were playing recently, I really fucking enjoyed Ultratron, which is the update of Robotron. Which is also like a bullet hell type of game, because I know in Fury like it's bullet hell city, but yeah, that Ultratron was so fun. I'm jonesing to get back on that and play more. That's a really good PSN game.
Cool.
I enjoyed Fury. I played it. I didn't get very far. Like the third boss was super hard for me. Like the guy who with the many walls.
That one actually was kind of easy.
Okay,
there is a boss later
on
on with a sniper, like a sniper boss, and that one just fucked me up. I was like very happy I could get through that. Like the boss you were talking about, I actually got through that the first try, so right. I was very lucky. But like some other bosses later on are just insane.
Yeah,
I know my limits. Like as soon as I set eyes on Fury, as soon as I played like through the first level, I was just like, yeah, this is gonna give me some serious trouble. I don't think I'm gonna survive this.
I love the soundtrack though. Like,
oh yeah, the soundtrack is amazing.
Fucking amazing. Like if you like stuff like the soundtrack of Hotline Miami, that is pretty much in the same vein, and it's really good. It's I that has been rotating on in my MP3 player. Mm-hmm. For quite a while now.
That's one of the things that like got me through it as well. Especially also the art design is from the same dude who did Afro Samurai, which is like an anime I really enjoyed. It looks a lot like that show. So yeah, that and the soundtrack is like got me hooked right away.
Sweet, yep. Like a sweet injection of heroin. So talking about sweet injections of heroin, actually that's literally no segue. I literally have no rejoinder to that. But still, I'm going to talk about two movies I saw recently, which are intrinsically linked in my mind because they came out in the Japanese cinema at the same time, and I remember thinking, man, I want to see both those movies, and I never actually saw them. And then they came out on DVD at the same time, and I rented them on the same day, and like watched them in very quick succession. So I think they're always going to be linked, but they're totally different films. That is The Arrival. Sorry, not The Arrival. Arrival and Logan. So two very, very different films. So I don't have a lot to say about these films, but I will very quickly reel them off and then get thoughts on them and which one is better. That's a tough call. So Arrival was great. It's nice to see a deep, in-depth science fiction film that doesn't revolve around shooting things. So very much in the vein of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind or Contact. But in some ways I don't understand entirely why that film got so applauded, because it really retreads a lot of old ground, like a lot of like genre cliches when it comes to that type of movie. But it's nice to see it again because it's not made regularly, but it did stick rather rigidly to the type of like format of that type of movie. But yeah,
I think
I disagree actually. I think that the way those aliens communicate and like the interaction between the aliens are very interesting and not done that well in those other movies, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. The communication aspect of it was scientifically very interesting.
Yeah, that was the main angle. So, like language, as a general subject, like not only, with the aliens, but also among, humans, and the concept of language itself was the central theme. And I haven't seen that before in a movie, I think. And this was just like they used the sci-fi setup to make that work for maybe broader audience. So, yeah. And like you said, maybe some of the stuff you've seen before, like in deep sci-fi stuff, but like you also said, we haven't had that in quite a while. Maybe until now, except for Arrival, you got now Blade Runner, who seems to venture also into something. I haven't seen it yet.
There's no talk about Blade Runner on this podcast, not yet. Not until I've seen it.
I'll see it on Sunday. But, it's also done by the same guy who seems to be the go-to now for, and Alex Scarlett maybe, who's also good, doing good sci-fi stuff with Ex Machina, and now the what's the new movie called? I've seen the trailer for it, but that also looks very interesting. So that's neat. We're getting good sci-fi again. That is not just Star Wars. Yay.
or
yeah,
kind
but
of
Star
like
Wars is not
knockoff of Alien.
sci-fi. So.
Yeah, it's sci-fantasy, so I guess.
But, however, one thing about The Arrival is that it's too good at what it does. So, like, I don't want to send out any spoilers here, but the ending of The Arrival is so intensely, like, emotional. It pushes my buttons in a very precise way that makes it unbearable. There's getting sad when you're watching a film, right? When you cry a little bit and like that type of thing. That's fine, and like cathartic release of sadness is all good. It's great when that happens, and usually those movies are great. However, The Arrival properly fucked me. I mean, like, I'm talking like snot coming out of my nose. I'm crying so hard I got a headache. It just pushed my buttons. It's not good. It is
good.
Well, no, it's great, but I never want to see that film ever again in my life. Like, it's joined that pantheon of movies, like that. It belongs in there with that like category with The Road of films that were great, but I don't ever want to see them again.
12 Years a Slave.
I don't mind seeing that.
That's horrible. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I feel almost the same way, except like the emotional part works so well that just hearing that music that they played during that sequence, during some of those sequences, just like man, brings me to tears almost. So yeah, no, that's
Yeah. We were talking. Brack and I were talking about this very thing about the music in Arrival while we were playing a video game together. I watched Shutter Island last night, which was Halloween.
It has the same song in it. I know.
It has the same soundtrack, and I was just like, "This is the same song that was in Arrival," and it's making me tear up in Shutter Island too.
Well,
love Shutter Island. It's great. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, they totally picked the right song. It just makes it broke me Arrival broke me, which is great, but also makes it like very, very limited in the amount of times I want to watch it. Like, I'm not sure I want to go down. Not sure I want to go there again. It's not a pleasant ride. It's beyond pleasant for me. But good job for fucking me up, Arrival, if that was your aim, which it probably was. So anyway, Logan, great, fantastic, brilliant, badass, just fantastic, brilliant. Probably, maybe the best X-Men movie ever made. X-Men 2 probably has something to say about that, but just great. Yeah, not much more to say about that. Just everything you could ever want from Wolverine's like final movie. Certainly, definitely stuff. a far fucking cry from Wolverine Origins.
No kidding. They're on the far end of the spectrum, on the opposing side, I'd say. So yeah, good stuff. Logan is pretty amazing, and who knew? Who knew you could do such? I mean, does leave it to other people than Zack Snyder, I guess, to make a good serious comic book movie.
Yes.
With interesting themes that get actually pulled through and everything. So
yeah, it was great. See, that was a film that also made me cry. That also made me shed a few tears. But I will be very happy to watch that again.
Yeah,
unlike the
there was enough claw to head action to make a rewatch warranted. So,
yeah.
God damn, that movie is violent. I did not
for sure.
when they go all out like in the first few minutes. Like, okay, I see where this is going, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, god damn. You see that fucking head come apart? I've never seen brains like that before. I also love Platoon. Any more items for the Shallows, Bragg?
No, nothing.
Alright. Then, with that, we're gonna head out of the Shallows and into the depths. Welcome back to the depths. So today on the depths, we're going to be talking about opposites. As kind of we alluded to in the Shallows. So with that in mind, what we're going to talk about is movies that we personally loved, but the critics hated, and movies that the critics hated that we loved. So who's going to go first? Because we haven't discussed this. Human Metal.
Sure
he just nominated himself by laughing there. Like a giddy schoolgirl. Human Metal, you giddy schoolgirl.
Yes.
You're gonna go first. Can you give us a movie that was critically loved but you did not like?
Okay, that's problematic because like this is the part of our topic that was. It was hard to come by movies that are that I hated because if a movie is really I don't hate movies that much usually, and so but I got two movies that are critically acclaimed and that everybody loves, and I don't like as much as everybody else. So let's do it that way. I'm fine with that, and you can maybe go into the more extreme things. We'll see. So let's start with the big one, and I'm gonna get some flack for that. Probably because this is like a fan favorite movie. Everybody's darling, The Big Lebowski. This is a
What?
What?
I'm done.
What?
Okay,
How dare I?
go.
What?
Yeah, how dare-
Crazy man. Fucking Nazi. Hate him. Kill him. Put him in a shower with fucking poison gas.
In the words of the dude, the fuck you talking about?
It's not about Nam. No, it's still a fun movie. I enjoyed it, but I never got like the fucking obsession people have with this movie. I think there's some great quotes in there. I think there's some fun moments in there. So are none of the Coen movies. I don't know why this one got like the super cult status it does. It's like I don't get. I think there are some also weaker parts in it, and yeah, it's like some parts that not necessarily put me to sleep, but I couldn't connect to. So this is like just most Coen movies where they go into comedies. Into comedy, this is for me a mixed bag. It's the same level on me, the same level as Burn After Reading was. And a lot of people didn't like that. So
like that.
yeah, but it's the same for me as I just got as many laughs out of that as out of Big Lebowski.
Man,
So
this aggression will not stand, man.
Yeah, I know.
Shut the fuck up, human metal.
I'm sorry, but it's still a good movie. It's just not. I just don't get the super hype for it. That's all. That's it. I can't say much more about it. It's like It's still a good movie in my eyes, but it's not like the super mega hyper cult that.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry, you know. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, of course. I always love the Coen series movies more. I love No Country for Old Men, and I think True Grit is also great. So I really love those.
Yeah, there's hope for you yet. That's what you're trying to say.
I really love those movies, but their comedies is just. I haven't seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou, so maybe that would be more up my alley. I don't know, because it's more weird. Maybe I don't know, but those those two comedies I saw. If you maybe Fargo 2, if you want to call that a comedy, I don't know if it is. It's a weird mix.
There's some funny elements to it. So.
Yeah. But even Fargo, I like the TV series more than I like the movie. So there you go. That's also weird. So yeah. Coens are a mixed bag for me, and Big Lebowski is one of those mixed bags. So sorry.
Well, whilst I would agree with you that perhaps the Fargo TV show is superior to the movie, although I do like the movie very much, I would, you happen to have picked the movie that I would rank probably as the funniest film of all time, The Human Metal.
And you're not alone with that. You're in the majority. Everyone fucking loves that movie to death.
This explains why you like the Preacher so much. Like, there's like a plotline in Preacher where one of the characters really can't stand like the Big Lebowski. So like every once in a while,
yes, he's my man.
Like every once in a while, they just cut into like his character, like they're discussing something like, oh fuck, they're talking about the Big Lebowski kid, how much he hates it.
Yes, he's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Big Lebowski. It's as I say, it's probably the funniest film ever made for me. It's great. The thing is, like when I first watched it, it's one of those slow burn films. When I first watched it, I was like, what the fuck is this about? That was weird. And then the second time I watched it, like it was like funny. And then, I don't know, I just continued to watch it. It truly is one of those films that becomes funnier. Somehow it gets funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier every time you watch it, until the point where, like, even the lines that, just normal lines that float by, just start to become funny. Like, every single second of that film starts to become funny to you. Like, I can't really explain it, but it's the ultimate film for, like, you know, getting a couple mates round, getting a couple beers in, and just having a fun time. It's just absolutely hilarious, start to finish, and it never fails to make me laugh or giggle or just have a good time. It's absolutely brilliant, The Big Lebowski. I know there's this whole like wider thing where people take it way too seriously and get well too deep into it, but I just think it's an extremely, extremely funny and quotable film. Where, you know, like Walter, for example, Walter Sobchak, on the surface, his rambling isn't particularly like funny. Like the first time you watch it, it's not funny, but after you've seen that film 5 times, every single word he's saying is absolutely hysterically funny. Like it's great. I just love it. Now what you got is a couple of guys with, you know, towels wrapped on their heads trying to find reverse on a Soviet tank. It doesn't sound funny unless you've seen it 100 times. Then it's hilarious.
Okay. Sounds like Stockholm Syndrome to me, but carry on.
How
about you, Brack? Any opinions on The Big Lebowski?
I love The Big Lebowski. You know that. I've watched it so many times, and it just stays funny. I'm gonna agree that the first time I was like kind of mixed on it.
Yeah, me
but
too.
Like every single time after that, it just gets funnier and better, and just hilarious. Yeah. I get if you're not a big fan of it, that you might like go down to hate it, because so many people are so in love with it that like if you're not in love with it, you're like, shut the fuck up about it. But I'm one of the people that's in love with it, so
I don't hate that movie. Like I said before, it's not like, this movie sucks, I don't get why everyone loves it. It's like, I like it, but I don't get why everyone loves it. So
because
there you go.
The opening scene has the dude in a supermarket in his dressing gown, opening up a carton of milk, drinking it, has a white moustache when he gets to the checkout girl, then writes a check for 69 cents while the checkout counter girl is like glowering at him. It's fucking hysterically funny. Like, it's
Right.
really funny. It's just, and the thing is, like, that's funny a little the first time you see it, but then it just starts getting funnier to the point where it's hysterically funny. It's the same with, like, with Glengarry Glen Ross. It's exactly the same with Glengarry Glen Ross. Another one of those films that when you first watch it, you're knocked out by the crackerjack acting, the dramatic acting by like Al Pacino and Kevin Spacey and Alan Arkin and Jack Lemmon and Ed Harris. They really have that kind of dynamic acting where they're all shouting at each other, and you think, man, this is a really fucking well acted like drama or this type of thing. And then you watch it the second time and you realize, wait, hang on a minute, that's fucking hysterically funny. That's like really funny. And then you watch it more, and then gradually it becomes like the funniest thing you've ever seen, apart from The Big Lebowski.
Maybe I just haven't watched it often enough yet.
Yeah, like go. I tell you what, Human Metal. Here's the litmus test for The Big Lebowski. Get a bunch of friends round, get a couple beers in, and like watch it 5 times, and then you'll find out if it's funny or not.
We'll see.
All right, Brack, are you gonna go next?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the softball first. Go talk
Sloppy
about
seconds for Brack.
the movie Luck, which it's this Tom Hardy movie from 2013, and
Oh yeah, everyone loved that movie. God, I remember now. There were people in the streets demonstrating for its brilliance.
It's critically acclaimed. It has like a 81 on Metacritic, and it's like even higher on Rotten Tomatoes.
How many reviews does it have? 1?
In the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, as Will Ferrell said, it won the Oscar for the best movie ever made in the history of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I crashed. Go, carry on.
But okay, it's just like a movie about Tom Hardy. He's driving in a car. He's talking on the phone. This is, by the way, the only movie in which Tom Hardy and Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and whatever Tom Hardy is going to play, Venom, are in the same movie. So that's interesting, I guess. But yeah, the movie is just boring as hell. I get what they're trying to do with it, and they're like super heavy-handed with all their metaphors because his world is falling, going to the ground around him. But he's talking on the phone about foundations the entire time because he's like a construction manager. So he's talking about foundations with his like the construction crew the entire time on the phone because his foundation is breaking down. Don't you get it? It's so deep. And like, I was just not enjoying it at all. It was so boring as well. And like I watched it like in and it's a 91% of Rotten Tomatoes with 200 reviews. I'm just saying, it's very critically acclaimed, and it's just fucking boring as hell. So, yeah.
I still kind of want to see that film though, to be honest, Brack.
I mean, you might enjoy it. You might enjoy it. Like I know that's part of it that I did enjoy it because I watched it with not the right crowd. I watched it with like in a theater with like college kids. Because we were like, it's like a college theater I went to, and we were just like, it wasn't the right crowd for this type of movie. But yeah, in general, I don't think I would have enjoyed it anyway. It just isn't good. I can understand his performance is good. Tom Hardy is good, but like Tom Hardy is always good. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But in general, he's pretty fucking good. Let's be honest with that. This is not one of his like interesting performances. He's playing just like this average guy, just like Mr. Bland. But yeah, it's no, I didn't enjoy it. Let's just keep it at that.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, I have something pertinent rejoinder for that, Brack, which is no, I don't. I never heard of that film. So no, actually, that's a lie. I think I read a review of it in Empire once and thought, oh, that sounds interesting. But you've definitely shot that down. But so I guess I'm going to go with a film that actually people have heard of, which would be Kill Bill. So yeah, Kill Bill had a huge wave of momentum and hype behind it. People were saying like, oh, it's the best Quentin Tarantino film, or like it's absolutely amazing, and I was so unbelievably popular. And I watched the first one, and was just like, this is terrible. I just did not like it whatsoever. I didn't get to be fair to the film. I didn't get what he was going for at the time. Like when I watched it, like I really didn't understand the departure from his previous work. Now I understand because Quentin Tarantino has gone off and kind of made those dream movies, those fantasy movies that he had in his head when he was a kid or whatever. He's kind of made those movies, and to a certain point, well, no, generally I love those movies. I love Inglourious Basterds. I love Django Unchained, even though its third act is completely unnecessary. And I love like The Hateful Eight. Like I love his more recent films, but Kill Bill, I just didn't get the time. And I've gone back and I've watched it now, and whilst the first part I do like a little bit more, I still don't love it. You know, I just still don't understand like why everybody holds it in such high esteem. I mean, yeah, it's got some sort of decent fight scenes in it, but then again, you know, so does Daredevil. You know what I mean? So does John Wick, and so does everything these days have decent fight scenes in it. And like part 2, frankly, part 2 is just boring as shit. Like actually, ironically, I quite liked part 2 when I first watched it when I was younger. Like I enjoyed that more than part 1, but these days it's changed and I enjoy part 1 a lot more. And part 2 is just unbearably boring. It's just one of those, but in general it's just one of those movie franchises that I don't know, I just don't see quite why it's as popular as it is. Maybe you guys can fill me in on the details. There you go. Kill Bill, did not like it. I mean, I'm trying to defend it. There's a part of me that wants to defend it because it's so popular and critically acclaimed that you're like, you sort of feel
really
guilty
like
for not liking
I
it.
like it, but it's not one of my favorite like Tarantino movies or anything. Hey, you know what? It has a less Metacritic score than fucking Luck. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, Jesus.
All people in the future, all movies in the future have to measure up to the Metacritic rating of Luck.
Yeah, the critical beast that is Locke. Yeah.
All I'm saying, also
The
less
unhailed
on Rotten
messiah
Tomatoes.
of moviedom.
Also less on Rotten Tomatoes. So some people would say that Luck is a better movie. Not me,
That's
though.
not a lie.
Yeah, I hope
but
it
yeah,
is.
I really enjoyed Kill Bill 1 when I first saw it. I thought it was a cool action revenge story, at least, you know, up to the end. I didn't like the second part, probably for the same reasons that you didn't like it, because I thought it was boring, because, you know, it didn't have as exciting fight scenes as the first one, and that's what I expected from it, and that's not what I got. And I wasn't too familiar with many other of the many other Tarantino works, actually. So yeah, you know, I liked the first one, didn't like the second one. I think the first one was a cool action movie with a lot of nice homages to Japanese, you know, samurai revenge cinema stuff, and yeah, I like that. So I don't know if is it like widely regarded as Tarantino's best thing? No.
No.
Pulp Fiction
So,
is, right?
Yeah,
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction.
I would say Pulp Fiction.
And I think Death Proof is regarded as his worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like Death Proof.
Not including that film Quentin Tarantino made with a couple of other directors about the hotel. I've forgotten what that's called, but Four Rooms. There you go. I just remembered the title.
Hated Eight 2, right? Hateful Eight.
What? What's with that?
Not many people liked Hateful Eight.
Yeah, we liked Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
I liked Hateful Eight. I loved Hateful Eight. It's great.
No, yeah, I know that.
Like, I like Kill Bill Volume 1 a lot. I actually like Kill Bill in general a lot. But in a way, it felt like him going backwards after Jackie Brown, which is one of my favorite Tarantino movies. That's the one he made right before Kill Bill. And it feels like, he's falling back on making like sort of a mashup movie, which is what he does a lot, you know, where he takes a lot of stuff he likes from his past and makes like a stew with it and makes like a mashup movie. And I felt like he didn't do that with Jackie Brown. I was hoping, you know, it would be nice if he was going more that route, which he's doing these days with Hateful Eight and Django Unchained and stuff. Yeah. So.
I definitely don't like Jackie Brown as much as you do. I mean,
me neither. I couldn't get through that movie. It's like, God, I got so bored.
Really? I know it's
Yeah.
not boring. I mean, it's a good film.
I watched it when I was so young when I watched it, and I was like, holy shit, what is this about? I don't get it. It's boring.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that has Jackie Brown as one of my favorite Tarantino movies.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it there, but I like Jackie Brown fine. But I don't like.
I like Reservoir Dogs a lot, so.
Yeah, everybody likes Reservoir Dogs, though. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like Jackie Brown's at least like slightly controversial.
Yeah.
Where everybody and their dog likes Reservoir Dogs because it's just awesome. All right.
But see, I'm more the mainstream Tarantino guy. I also like Django Unchained. I think that also went over well with the main audience. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I also agree with that. I like it in general, but I wish that it had ended with the first final fight in the film, rather than having like the entire third act. Like, or do you know when Leonardo DiCaprio gets shot and then the action sequence at the end?
Yeah, it could have ended there. Yes.
It could have ended there and been a much stronger film, I think. Also, my feeling with Django Unchained, just to go off on a small tangent here, is that I think Quentin Tarantino fucked up on the action in that film, because I think if it had a more realistic gunfight at the end, it would have been a way stronger film. If it had like instead of going in with all the hip hop music and having like this huge giant like Michael Bay style action sequence at the end, if it had a very like more dignified traditional gunfight at the end of that film, it would have been a much better film, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, but
yeah, sure. Let's second guess Quentin Tarantino, one of the greatest directors on earth, from my armchair.
Why not? We've already started shoveling our own graves, so why not dig deeper?
Well, yeah. So, talking about shoveling our own graves and digging deeper, now we're going to talk about critically reviled films, which we actually really loved. Human Metal, why don't you kick us off on this one?
Since I've already outed myself as an expert on comedic taste by dissing The Big Lebowski, let's double down on that and fucking cherish a movie that everybody called unfunny and a piece of shit, and we've talked about it before, and it's a fucking passion project from everybody's darling who hates everyone, and that's Bruce Willis. And it's Hudson Hawk, and it's a silly dumb movie about a gentleman thief with his fat Italian partner, because that's a stereotype that hasn't been done before, who robs fucking museums and other places while timing their robberies to old swing music tracks and stuff like that, and they sing along and then rob the place, and that's how they know how much time they have left. It's incredibly dumb, and then they get roped into stealing one of Leonardo da Vinci's hidden inventions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really dumb plot. It went over really badly with the overall audience and the critics. But when I saw that first as a pretty young kid, I think early teenage years or something, and I have to add to that, the German version is like punned up. Like there's a lot of the translation is very liberal, so they put a lot of jokes in there that work especially well for kids because they're super dumb.
And if there's one thing Germans are known for, it's their comedy.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so the stuff they put in there is went really well for me as a kid, and now when I watch that movie now, I recognize this is really dumb, but I have these warm fuzzy nostalgia feelings for it. So when I see it, man, this is not the funniest stuff, but I still laugh at it because it's hilarious. It's super dumb. And why would you make such a movie? The stuff that it parodies, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. I still enjoy it. I recently watched it I don't know, half a year ago, and I still enjoy it. It still works because it's so stupid. So yeah, it's one of the movies that everybody apparently hated, and I just really like it. I think it's a fun movie, and if I didn't know the stuff I know about Bruce Willis, that movie would let me think that he's a pretty swell dude who loves fun stuff. So yeah.
There you go. It's a masterpiece. It's great. Hudson Hawk is an absolute fucking excellent film. I literally have no idea why people would dislike that film. It's just so stupid, off its tits, funny. It's just great. Nothing is played seriously in that film. It's
Nope.
all absolutely hilarious.
It's a farce. It's like surreal comedy in a lot of parts.
For Christ's sake, if you look at literally some of the like skits, like for example, one of the scenes that always made me laugh, where Sylvester Stallone's brother dies in the ambulance. First, he gets like smacked in the face with a whole bunch of syringes.
Yeah.
And then the ambulance crashes that he's in, and then blows up in a ball of flame. And Bruce Willis, while trundling by on a hospital gurney, asks, "Caesar, Mario, are you okay?" While literally it is burning in a ball of flame. Also, one of the main bad guys, an old man bad guy dies, literally on the front of a limo, flying off a cliff that then explodes into flame, and shouts, his final words are, "My pension!" How can you not like that? It's just... Plus, there's a guy who has, like, switchblades flicking out of his sleeves and fights, like, with these double knives.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking badass. It's straight out
He's
James
like
Bond.
the most badass James Bond henchman that was never in a James Bond movie.
Yeah, he's
like,
great.
It's perfect. He should have been in a James Bond movie, and he wasn't. Like, he's like this this gentleman British butler, and it's super weird. Like, he should have been in a James Bond movie. And the bad guys are like super over the top, deviants and fun, and it's dumb, and I liked it.
Yeah.
What else is there? The bad guy, the sub henchman bad guys from the CIA are all named after fucking sweets. Like, one is named Butterfinger, one is named Kit Kat.
Yeah, like the scene where Butterfingers is in the car, and one of the CIA agents is like, "God, what's taking them so long?" Butterfinger's like, "You want me to go up there and rape him?" Like, just read your book, Butterfingers. The cat was not in the sock. To yourself, Butterfingers, to yourself. It's brilliant. It's so much fun. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's just full of stupid shit that's just, I don't know, it's just flat out fun. So yeah, I agree with you, Human Metal. It's a unsung masterpiece of like just stupidness. How about you, Brack? Any thoughts on Hudson Hawk?
Nope.
He hasn't dared watching it yet.
You should definitely get around to that, Brack, just to see what you think. It would be worthwhile. It's really,
he hyped
really
it up
fun.
too much. He's gonna hate it.
No, you can't hate Hudson Hawk. I just think it's impossible to hate that.
Yeah, maybe I will watch Slug first, and then after that, watch Hudson Hawk.
All right, so Brack, what masterpiece of critical derision is on your list first?
Of course, talking about Speed Racer. Speed Racer.
Go, Speed Racer, go!
I'm gonna love that movie, Speed Racer. It's amazing. It's literally one of the most critically hated movies of all time, I think. But and literally, I had to watch it twice to actually like know what I watched. Because the first time I watched it, it was one of the movies. It was back in the high school days, and I was like still smoking weed quite often, and so I watched. I watched Speed Racer High, right? And literally, I watched the entire movie, and I couldn't remember shit from it. Like I knew I'd watched it.
Just a barrage of colors.
I knew there were colors, but that's all I remember. But then everybody told me it was like a bad movie, so like, I don't remember much of it, but I heard it's bad, so it's probably bad. But a couple years ago, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna try watching Speed Racer again, and that movie is really freaking fun. Like the races themselves, there are a lot of them, and they are just amazing. They're super colorful. They're really creative with like the visual style and just the way the races unfold. The story actually is kind of enjoyable. I was actually rooting for the main character, whose name, by the way, is Speed Racer. Like that's the name of the movie. His actual name is first name Speed, last name Racer.
Yeah. And goddamn, like this. Speaking of how amazing the races are, I mean, it's all CG, and you have to, acquaint yourself with that, and it looks just super, artificial in a way, but it looks cool because it's so fucking colorful, and like the final race and the showdown where Speed like goes all out and like overtakes all these guys to the finish. It's just so amazing. Like seeing that, I saw that in cinema. I don't know if I saw it in 3D. I'm not sure. Maybe I did. But I remember like those final moments, and then you have like this short moment of silence where he takes his helm off and can't, hear it because everything was sold out. And then like the audience applause comes in and everything. It was so amazing because I want to applaud too. I thought that was such an amazing scene. It was staged so well. And I was like, man, this was like a barrage on the, like an attack on the senses, everything that happened in this movie. But it was so fucking enjoyable. It's silly, but it's really well made. I think the Wachowskis did a super, super good job with that movie. And people are like, oh, this movie is dumb. This movie is silly. And I mean, have you seen the old fucking anime? That's dumb and silly too. I think they did a really good adaptation of that tone. I think.
But like,
it's what
I actually cared about the character still. Like, I actually cared.
Yeah, me too.
I
think John Goodman was amazing in that movie as his father. He like kicked ass. The guy from Lost was great too.
Yes, this is probably his best movie.
Yeah, definitely. Remember this other one that weird, I don't know, with the different perspectives. Don't know what he was starring in. But yeah, that was great. And I mean, you could say that there are too many scenes with the little boy and the monkey. Those are in there for the kids, and I get it. I didn't need those scenes. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, you're wasting time with this, but it's not so many that it's not tolerable anymore.
Like the action sequences is like Fast and Furious. Like the disc and like a Skittle ball or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like F-Zero the movie.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And I think the CGI like during the day sequences are quite, though they're still enjoyable, but they're not that great. But like during the night sequences, it just fits perfectly. It looks a little bit like a video game, but it looks like a beautiful video game. And the way they use cinematography, they use like those anime like zoom ins a lot, like where
I love that.
And, like, they zoom in super close to the guy's face, and like they have like the smash cuts, and they have like that you see both faces like really zoomed in at the same time in the screen. It's very insane, and it's very close to like the actual like anime style.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So many people talk about, good adaptations when, good comic book movie comes out and stuff like that. What I miss in a lot of those movies is like not only adapting the characters and the story from the source material, but also trying to get like some of the visual language, like how the panel transitions and everything, and how framing is worked in that source material, and that's very, very hard to adapt into a movie. I get it, but I really would like to see more people try it, and they tried that. They tried to get like all the stuff that you normally don't see in live action movies because it's so over the top, and it maybe doesn't work for a lot of other movies, but they tried it because like, okay, this was in the show, these crazy speed lines and zoom ins and everything, and let's try to put that in this movie. And I think it's a great thing they did that. Another example of that, in my opinion, is, and that is also, maybe I should have named that too. I didn't, but still, let's bring that up shortly. It's the first Hulk movie. A lot of people hate that movie. The one with Eric Bana by Ang Lee. A lot of people don't like that movie. I think it's one of the few movies that tries to do something where it puts like panels on the screen that transition in a specific way. You have like this motion where it feels like there's a page turn and stuff like that, and he tried to play with that, and I think it works in that movie too. It's interesting to look at, and I feel like not enough movies are daring enough in trying to make more of their comic book or anime or cartoon source material than they could. So yeah, that was one of the things, to bring this long tangent to an end, that I really enjoyed about Speed Racer, just like you did, because it was something that you don't see as much.
You don't see it at all.
Or not at all. Yeah, exactly.
People always compliment like Sin City for its visual style, and this in a way does the same thing. Like the way it brings that anime, like an anime style to life, is the same way like Sin City brings like that comic book style to life.
Yeah.
And just for the being unique, very entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's a well-structured story. It works. Like it's dumb, but it works.
well, as far as this podcast goes, it's 3 for 3 because I also quite like Speed Racer. Yeah,
Yay.
I don't love it, but I remember like when I saw that movie come out, I remember thinking, oh, that looks terrible. I have no interest in watching that. And I think I saw like about 30 to 40% of it on TV and thought to myself, hey, that's really good actually. And then I went and rented the DVD and actually watched it because the 40% that I did manage to watch on TV caught my attention. I thought, hey, that's not bad at all. And I went and rented it and watched it, and yeah, it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed that film.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
Uh,
it was decent. I mean, it wasn't
A
like the
much
best film
better
ever,
move-
but it was great.
A much better movie is about cars than luck.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but I suggest Locke is hopefully like maintaining the speed limit. No spoilers, Brack. But
It's one of those movies where I really like feel really disconnected from like the critics, which doesn't happen that often, or the main movie-going audience, because both parties hated that film in general. And I watched it with my dad in a cinema, and I came out of it and was like, man, this was awesome. I loved this. And everyone was like, nope, this sucks. And I'm like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? What did you expect, people? What? I don't get it. So yeah, this is a rare thing for me, where really this is a movie I really love that a lot of people, except for luckily the people on this podcast, hate, and I just don't get it. I just don't understand.
like what exactly like I said, like F-Zero the movie, that was exactly my feeling. I was like, hey, this is like the best movie that anybody could ever make of F-Zero. Like, this is great. This is like this is good fun. It was good fun. It was just fun. All right, Brack, what's on your list for?
That was mine.
That
was me.
Your turn.
It's
That
our-
was your
turn.
prick. I'm sorry.
I talked more about it than Brack did, so it might have felt.
Yeah, he just like
Yeah.
hijacked me.
I hijacked it. Well, spoilers. That was originally my pick too. We switched, because both Brack and I had the same.
We literally, without knowing from each other, we had the same pick about
Yeah.
Speed Racer.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
All right, so I think we're gonna go opposite. So Human Metal had The Big Lebowski, which he didn't like, and Brack and I both love. We're now going to a movie that I like, which I know for a fact the other two don't particularly appreciate. So let's get into this. Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood. I like it. Okay, I think it's a great movie. I know the critics didn't like it, the general fan base doesn't like it, but I like it.
People that are sane didn't like it. Yeah.
Well, that excludes you then, Brack. You must love the fucking film. So anyway, so basically, I enjoyed Robin Hood because it was fun. So it told a very, very simple story of like, like Robin Hood returning from the Crusades and stuff, and then the whole thing where he's kind of trying to conceal his identity and having like a fun romance with Kate Blanchett's character. It was very lightweight, very easy to watch, very funny as well. There were lots of like comedic beats in there that I quite enjoyed. There was kind of levity to the whole situation that was fun for me. It didn't get bogged
all of
down
that.
in like self-seriousness. Like I think one of the problems was everybody like watched Gladiator and Kingdom of Heaven, like two really kind of heavy, emotional, intense, like historical epics, and thought that Ridley Scott was gonna do the same Robin Hood, and I was in that same boat. I went in there and I was expecting this really intensely epic kind of like fucking great thing, but it was just a very kind of like minor, small movie, like very kind of like focused on the central characters and the lightness of it, the comedic, like the lightness of Robin Hood's character. He didn't want to be in the epic conflict or something. He wasn't brooding, he wasn't dark. He was just all right, He's just a nice lad who like drinking with his boys and like having fun and just like enjoying life. And I really enjoyed that. Mark Strong was a despicable bad guy in it. I like the way he died. I like the fact that there wasn't a huge like final fight where they're like one-on-one where everybody, typical style where the bad guy faces off with the hero. I like the way Mark Strong died. I like the evil cackle he gave when he died. Like I just liked it. I just really, really thought it was a solidly made historical movie, and very, very lightweight, very easy to watch. Doesn't feel like it takes 10 days to finish, unlike Gladiator or Kingdom of Heaven. Yeah,
It
it's just
definitely
great
felt
stuff.
like it was 10 days while watching it.
Although that said, I don't like it as much as Gladiator or indeed Kingdom of Heaven, but I liked it. Great, I liked it. I thought it was fun. So okay, go on then, you guys, go on and piss all over it, you negative bastards.
Oh no, that
Beaten
movie
with-
is boring as fuck.
Yeah, sorry.
Very succinct, Brack.
I don't remember like basically anything about that movie, just that it bored me to tears, and after like, I don't know, half an hour I stopped paying attention probably, like or fell asleep. I don't remember what it was. Like it bored me. And then I later heard about that originally it was supposed to be like a story where the main character was the sheriff of Nottingham and was like wanted to tell like the story from a different perspective. And I was like, that would have been really interesting. And Russell Crowe was like, nope, you can't do that. Robin Hood is a national hero, although he might not have existed. But you can't make him the villain in this movie, so I only want to do a traditional Robin Hood movie. And I was like, okay, well, that's lame.
What the fuck does he care? He's from Australia. His national hero is an alligator and
Don't
a bit of
ask
overcooked
me.
beef.
But apparently, like, Ridley Scott wanted him for the part, and Russell Crowe, I might be misquoting that, but from what I heard, Russell Crowe was like, nope. It was Christian Bale, a Christian Bale thing, who also was like, I only want to be in Terminator Salvation as John Connor, but he has a too small, his part is too small, so please write him a bigger one. And yeah, so that didn't help that movie either. So so I don't know. This could have been a more interesting movie, I guess, for me, but what I saw of it was like, nope.
Actually, it was.
I
I heard it was Scott that changed it mostly to focus as well. To change the focus. It's supposedly at the beginning, the reason it got made because the script was supposed to be amazing, and it was like a good script from the perspective of the sheriff.
Yeah.
I see, like it was like an investigative story about him investigating Robin Hood, and stuff like that. And then supposedly what I've read is that Ridley Scott like was obsessed with archery at the moment, so he shifted the focus to focus more on archers.
Oh, that was okay. Then I miscredited Russell Crowe here, but yeah, then this is all on Ridley Scott because that's a really dumb reason. Holy shit.
Well, I like Robin Hood as I've just spent some time describing, but I do also appreciate that Sheriff of Nottingham film does sound very fun. That does sound more intriguing than actually what the eventual product does turned out to be, but I do enjoy what it did turn out to be, so who knows. But yeah, I mean, someone please make that. I want to see like Robin Hood as like a fucking like this robber pest, and the Sheriff of Nottingham desperately trying to deal with him. That sounds like good fun, actually.
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna get back on to critically acclaimed films. One more round. So let's get back onto the critically acclaimed films that we didn't like. So Human Metal, what is last on your critically acclaimed bullshit list?
Again, caveat, it's not like that I didn't like this movie, I just didn't love it as much as other people did.
I really thought
you hated it.
All right, yeah. I really thought he was going to say cardiac arrest. So cardiac arrest, no.
Cardiac arrest for all the people out there who love Wonder Woman, because I want to pick a movie that...
you die, motherfucker!
In movie theaters. And I watched that movie, and I was pretty overhyped on it, I guess, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is amazing! This is like finally the DC came through, and this is like probably one of the best comic book movies in recent year, and the first one with a female lead at that, or bigger female lead, and they did the characters so right." And I sat in the movie theater and I watched it. I was like, all right, that was all right, and that's it. It's all right. It's got a lot of
It's like on the level of like Ant-Man or like
not
stuff
even
like that. Oh.
I enjoyed Ant-Man a lot more than I enjoyed Wonder Woman. Like, that movie has a lot of problems in my opinion. Like, the supporting cast sucks. Like, not maybe the Amazons, some of the Amazons are really good, but I thought everyone except for maybe Chris Pine in that movie sucked. Like, I did not. I hated his assistant, like that fucking woman who was like, oh, I wanted to punch her in the face so hard. I like, fuck you, lady. What are you supposed to be? Get out of here. You're fucking annoying. Oh man,
I
no.
found it quite hilarious that who's the actress playing Wonder Woman? She's not that great of an actress, so they actually made everybody on like the island, all the Amazons, like change their accent to fit hers because she couldn't change her accent.
I think that was a good choice because Themyscira is like, not near the coast of America or anything.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad choice, but it's kind of obvious that the reason is not because they wanted to have that accent. It's because she couldn't change her accent to be like an English accent.
And I think for what she got script-wise, Gal Gadot did a pretty good job. Like she can carry herself, she can deliver like kind of stupid lines as are given in comic movies with the kind of gravitas that is needed. So she is physical, very fit. Like the action scenes in that movie looked actually really good. I really enjoyed those. It's just that so much of that stuff that was like lauded, like story-wise and everything. Oh, and it's so charming. She and Chris Pine is like, there's so much tried and like cliched stuff in there, like this, oh my god, she has never seen a man. What's the first thing that happens? Well, he gets out of a bed and she sees his dick and is wondering about it. Like, we have seen that shit so many times in so many...
You've seen his dick so many times.
Yes, Chris Pine's dick so many times. No.
Stop sending me pictures of your dick, Chris Pine.
It's the right moment for you to come back. No, I mean, that was such a cliche scene, and then when they are on the boat together, it's like, why can't we lay together? It's like, oh god, stop it with that bullshit. That's been done in like so many, like, oh, this backwood girl comes into the big city and doesn't know, what love is or whatever. You've seen that in so much stupid romance stuff, and people were treating it like this is the second coming, and this is such a good and fun movie. And then the soldier buddies of Chris Pine, none of those characters are memorable in my opinion. Maybe the guy who wants to be an actor, and that's all we learn about him. Maybe because he got the biggest role out of them. Then there is this asshole who got some trauma that we also don't learn much about. But
PTSD,
yeah, but apparently he's a good singer, so that warrants him being an asshole. Like when one of them goes counts off like every good like aspect of all the people in that group, and he's like, "But you sing like an angel." Yeah. God, I had to keep myself from laughing at those dumb scenes. And then also, I love the setting of this movie, like where it was like, oh, this is World War I, so this is more. They're not clear good or bad parties. But if you didn't tell anyone this was in World War I am pretty sure the guy sitting behind me thought that this was World War II. Because, yeah, the Germans are, again, the bad guys. And it's not really, except for one scene made clear that this is not World War II. It's like, yeah, the Germans are, manipulated by another guy. And without going into spoilers, and yeah, but it's so clear that they were aiming for a tone that the general movie goer, like Cletus and whatever that backwater girl's name would be, would understand. And it's like it was so funny to me. Like nothing about this is really distinguishable as, okay, this is World War I, and this is a more complicated war story, and more complicated in terms of who is to blame and everything, and it's more on...
Oh, no, that's definitely not the case. It's just the Germans are the bad guy, for sure.
Yeah, because everyone...
Even the bad guys are super, like, cartoony as well. Yeah. Like Daddy Houston, and not sure who the other... Dr. Poison or some shit like that is the girl's name. And there's even a scene where they're, like, laughing. Like they have an evil laugh. Like in this movie, which is like so over the top cartoony. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more than you. But I didn't enjoy it that much anyway. It's a good, like, it's, in my opinion, it's on the level of like the average like Marvel movie, but not anything special.
I would maybe put it like on the level. It was more enjoyable than Thor 2, but not quality-wise, writing and everything. I wouldn't put it higher than that, actually. It's like, it's alright, it's not offensive or anything, but I've seen so much better stuff in recent years from Marvel's outing, like story-wise, character-wise, everything, like setting, acting-wise, in terms of bad guys, god damn it, like, this was, I mean, it's so cool that the first big female lead superhero movie was as decent as it was because it deserved to be, but I still think they could have done a lot better. Like, I expected more. Maybe Captain Marvel will deliver in that way. We'll see. But goddamn, there was so much stuff about that movie that was so fucking hokey and so early comic book movies, just in terms of how they pulled it off. Like, so much about this felt like, I don't know, some of, in terms of, hokey delivery and everything, maybe early X-Men movies or, stuff
Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, I can still go back to Spider-Man 1, but that's mostly because I love that character. But, I don't see me, going back in a few years to Wonder Woman and being able to look over all those hokey parts. And I wonder how many people will feel the same, because there's so many hokey parts in this movie. Like, and it not like, they don't seem like they wanted them to be in there for the hokiness, because the tone of that movie is switching several times. Like, it's like the serious thing about, war and how it's horrible and what it does to people and everything. And then they switch like around the next scene. It's like a fucking scene with that assistant of Chris Pine going, oh, what's going on? And fuck you. That's the dumbest shit. Like, man, I feel like they didn't really have a grasp on that. But yeah, aside from me raving about that movie in a negative way, I still liked it. I think it was a decent movie. It's just not definitely. I think it doesn't deserve all the praise it got. Like, nope.
All right.
A couple of thoughts from a person who hasn't seen the film. Firstly, I'm not interested in watching that film whatsoever because Batman vs Superman was so fucking bad.
Oh, it's so much better.
Fucking bad that it just.
It's much better than Batman v Superman, like on a whole different level.
I mean that's good news, but like Batman vs Superman basically made me lose all taste for battle when it comes to like DC movies. But also a friend of mine who has a really bad taste in movies. Like if you asked him, he'd say Grown Ups 2 was the best film he ever saw. He came to me and said that Wonder Woman was the best superhero film he'd ever seen in his life.
Jesus.
Which immediately dead set me against Wonder Woman. But maybe I'll watch it, at some point when it's available.
You should maybe watch
locally.
it with your daughter. I think it's just cool for young girls to have like a superhero movie with a female lead. And if she likes superhero movies, otherwise maybe you shouldn't like withhold that from her.
But when she's been exposed to Ripley, why has she got to get Wonder Woman? Well, she got to sink down to Wonder Woman. Okay, but anyway.
Let her have it. Come on.
Aside from that, you were saying, like people won't go back, in like 20 years or something and watch Wonder Woman. But a question that kind of arises in my brain.
Some people will. No. I think some people definitely will. I said I definitely won't. I'm pretty sure I won't. And I wonder how many people will go back and.
But the thing is, in this day and age, with so many superheroes coming out all the time, like who's going to go back and watch Ant-Man in 20 years? Even though it's kind of semi-decent, there's so many coming out there. I don't think.
I'm not even going back into watch Ant-Man now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I watched Ant-Man like 3 times. I love that movie.
Actually, I watched Ant-Man also multiple times.
Jesus, I
saw
it like once.
So,
but the thing is, they're making so many superhero films. Like, I think these days, those superhero films are like kind of a thing of their time before they burn out and the next thing comes along.
Yeah, but we're talking about we're saying 20
people also
years.
go back to see westerns.
Yeah,
like from 20 years ago.
But
we're still going back and watching the classics there. So
but they don't come out so often. Do you know what I mean? It's almost
no. But in 20 years there won't be less. There probably will be less superheroes being made, movies being made than these days.
Yeah, probably. I mean, this is like a trend. This is very successful right now, but people are already getting sick of it. And one day, there will be enough people sick of it that you can produce them that much superhero movies or that many superhero movies anymore at the same time. So we will get a lot fewer, and then maybe people who love that shit and could maybe watch a new superhero movie every week like I do, then they go back to the older movies. So like I said, I already went back several times to the old Spider-Man movie, at least the first one, because I liked that one a lot. And so it's just like, it will take some time for that to happen, for the recent stuff probably. But when that time comes, when we don't have as many superhero movies anymore, Wonder Woman won't be probably not one of those movies I will go back to. And I wonder how many people will. I probably a lot more women, because like I said, this was a big thing. A lot of women liked that. That was a good movie, and that appealed to them directly with a female lead, and that female lead was treated with respect and was a strong character. So yeah, probably more on that part. And yeah, I don't know. It's just that. Yeah, there was too much stuff about that movie that just was meh to me, and where I was like constantly going into rummaging my brain was, no, I've seen this better.
Well, I think it's very interesting that I think history in the future, history is going to pick and choose which superhero movies are going to make the cut. Not all of them are going to make the cut. So it's very interesting. For example, I think like Captain America: Winter Soldier is definitely going to make the cut in the future as a classic superhero film.
Civil War maybe too. The first Avengers maybe.
The second one not so much. Yeah.
I'd say Iron Man probably would stand the test of time.
Yeah.
We'll see about Guardians of the Galaxy. I think those movies are super enjoyable. I don't know
if one.
It's always hindsight, so we never know
exactly
which ones will be at the time. But
talking about hindsight, Brack, you're a complete fucking asshole. So what's next on your list? That was that was a good joke.
Talking about a complete asshole, the movie I'm talking about is Gran Torino. You said I know you guys like that movie, but that movie's pretty bad, you guys. Like, really bad.
What are you talking about?
Why? Explain yourself.
Okay. Like 80% of the actors in that movie are horrible. Like, they're literally horrible. Like,
literally, hang on. How would you define literally horrible? What do they do? Kick cats in their spare time?
They're literal.
Like, they're just so bad. The acting is really bad in that movie. I'm not sure if you've seen it recently, but the acting is cringe-worthy bad. Like, only Clint Eastwood is okay, and this is definitely not one of his best performances. Like, he's like growling like a dying bear, like during the entire movie. Besides that, the story, like, it's very cliche, only with added like racial slurs to it. It's like the cliche of like, people don't like each other. Oh, they get they get to know each other a little better. They hate each other first. Or they get some kind of fond respect for each other, and by the end they like each other again. This is like Up with racial slurs in it. Like the movie Up is better than this movie, and it would be the same movie if he said like some racial slurs to like the Asian kid in that movie. It would be the same movie, only better. This movie is bad. It's super. It's just really bad.
Okay, let's talk about the acting thing. I have to again say that I've only watched the movie in German, so I don't know. Maybe the voice actors did a better job than
There's a reason that most of the actors, like especially like the neighbors, haven't been in a movie since this movie.
Yeah, and that's maybe because Asian people are underrepresented in American cinema.
Also because they're horrible
Might not only because of the acting quality, Brad.
They are really bad.
Yeah, if Scarlett Johansson didn't steal all of their roles.
Yeah. Good point. No, like I said, I haven't watched the movie in English yet, so I have to believe you, but I guess, but I didn't experience that way. Like I didn't watch the movie and feel like, no, this is bad acting. It's like, no, felt normal to me. But again, this could be the voice actors doing a better job than the actual actors did. So I don't know.
To that point, that specific point, I didn't have any problems with the acting in it whatsoever. I just didn't.
You should really rewatch this movie because those actors are terrible.
Well, Brack, I fucking loved that movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Me too.
Yeah,
I-
brilliant.
Oh man, I didn't.
Not just
I
good, I
didn't
thought
like
it was
at all.
brilliant.
It is a super simple story. You're right, and it's cliche, and it's been done before. But I think
And
the way
much
they
better.
no, I don't think
better.
I don't agree with that. I think the way they
Yeah,
pulled
me
it off
neither.
was really really good, and I think
Yeah.
disregarding what kind of person Clint Eastwood is in real life, but I think he really nailed like this
Yeah.
you know
He really
white.
nailed this racist white dude.
Yeah, yeah. And this is what, like, me being a racist in another way, and this, like, yeah, this is what I expect old Americans to be. Like, like this
Well, but-
is like, yeah, sure.
know-
This is, yeah, I see that.
I
Basically,
get-
this was a spiritual success of the Dirty Harry. He was basically playing a retired Dirty Harry here
Yeah.
in this film.
Was
Yeah.
Dirty Harry that racist?
He was kind of
Probably,
yeah.
yeah.
He was quite bigoted, yes.
Because this movie, this dude is super racist. Like even by the end of it, he's
Yes,
throwing
yeah.
out racial slurs the entire time.
But that's the
And-
thing, like that. But that's the thing. That's
The
the
problem
character.
is-
He's like this
I
old
get it,
curmudgeon,
I get
isn't
it.
he?
I get it, the character, but like he doesn't improve at all in the way he is being like using racial slurs in any way throughout
that's
the entire
not-
movie. In the
That's not the
beginning,
point.
in the beginning, he is like actually a racist, yes. But
Yes.
like the problem is like the like in these kind of movies, the people learn from each other. But the only thing the Asian dude really learned from is like, oh yeah, racial slurs are not that bad, and that's like the dude thing he learned from like like Clint Eastwood learned to be a little bit less racist, and the other guy learned to be racism isn't that bad.
Wow, no,
And
I
that's
don't,
like the message.
I don't think that was the
don't
thing he
think
got
that-
from him.
I don't think that's what he
No.
got from him at all, Brack. I think he's misreading that. I think definitely he learned to be a little less racist, but the fact is he has his whole of his life backing him up. You just can't change certain things. So I think on some level, Clint Eastwood is too old to change because that's the
And
culture
he
he's
changed.
always.
It's not like
He did
it's not-
change, yeah, but
it's
not
not like
that
he-
much. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he suddenly became, hey, I want to go out and campaign for racial rights or anything like that. But he
Exactly,
certainly learned
exactly.
respect.
And I
Oh,
love
from-
the
There are literally scenes in that movie where there's like where the movie itself is like trying to be like saying, oh, using these racial slurs isn't bad at all. Like there are multiple scenes like that in movies. Like, oh, this is just how guys talk, using these racial slurs. This is just how guys talk. It's okay. It's not that
Yeah,
bad.
but
It's just
wait,
talking
wait,
room talk.
that's exactly how those people talk because they're racist,
but-
Brack.
Yeah.
That's how the movie. But the movie presents that as a positive.
No,
like,
it's not
Yes,
at all.
it does.
It's no,
you should
it's
rewatch
not.
the movie. There are multiple scenes where he's like, "Oh yeah, we and my buddies, we talk like this all the time," and he's like, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be like offended by that at all." Like,
Yeah,
telling the
that's
Asian guy.
like saying
That's-
Michael Fassbender's all right with having slavery in his house and stuff, and 12 Years a Slave. Yes, it's all right for him because it's what he was born into, Brack. It's what he knows.
But Michael Fassbender is not the main character, sort of a main character, but he's not the hero of that movie.
Okay, so you and I took very different things away from that film. See, I understand what Clint Eastwood's character was. He's a racist, so it's told from his point of view.
I
yes,
know,
but it doesn't. The film doesn't
there
ask you to agree with him.
There are moments where the movie is presenting his like using racial slurs in a positive light. There are moments where he does it in a negative light at the beginning, but there are literally moments in the middle of the movie or later on in the movie where they're presenting him using racial slurs as just like, oh, this is just how guys talk. There's nothing wrong with this. It's okay. And like, oh, you should like be more like us to the Asian kid. That's how there's moments in that movie are like that.
Well, you see, I never got that. I never thought that. I thought it. I don't know exactly what you're taking away from that, Bragg, but I'd never got that from that film, not even remotely. Like, for me, it was a guy who was a racist in the beginning, who sort of learned to, whilst he couldn't ever get away from his kind of racist sensibilities because he's too old to do that. He comes from a culture that is so ingrained that he can't ever really escape that, and I totally understand that. At the same point, he learned on a very kind of humanic level to sort of respect someone outside their race as a person, just as a simple, devoid of race, just this person is good. But I don't think, like, he wasn't, like I say, he was never going to run for like race rights or something.
I'm not saying that there are moments in the movie where the director, Clint Eastwood, is presenting those racial slurs as a positive thing. There are moments in that movie, like where he's trying to do that. You maybe you didn't see it, but it's pretty obvious if you watch that movie.
I don't again, that didn't strike out to me. Obviously, I think that struck a chord with you, Brack, or that stayed in your memory. But for me, it didn't. Like, for me, the tale of redemption of that character was very moving, and a very kind of positive message for racial kind of like racial equality, or like anti-racist sentiment. So I totally took away the opposite message from you. Like, if I go in and analyze that on a kind of like case by case basis, perhaps you have some value to your
I
opinion,
definitely
but,
have some value there.
yeah, but
And you know who agrees
do,
with me?
Brack,
The
Brack,
fucking actors in the movie. Those agree with me. And I mean the Asian characters in that movie, the actors who played it, they see it more like I saw it.
yeah, possibly. But at the end, he did pick up a shotgun and a couple of handguns and defend those Asian characters. So well, fuck it. It was just a great movie. It really, really deepened my love for Clint Eastwood's films. I mean, it was like Unforgiven, and it was that film, and I think there was another one, $1 Million Baby, maybe. For a while, I was bang up on Clint Eastwood, and I really, really enjoyed his stuff. And Gran Torino was one of the main films that swung the fulcrum for me.
I really dislike the movie, especially also like the Christian allegories in there, where like he strikes the Jesus pose when he's dying. He's like a full-on Jesus pose. No, fuck that movie.
See, I didn't read into it as deep as you did. I didn't even catch the Jesus allegory. Like, I just enjoyed it for what it was. I really, really fucking enjoyed that film. However, then I saw Ever After, and that was shit. And that totally sunk the boat on my Clint Eastwood love as a director. But yeah, Gran Torino, I loved it. Human Metal, you've been very quiet. Any thoughts on this? This is a very interesting argument. See, Brack and I just got into an intelligent argument here on the Radiophonic Sea Creatures. How rare is that?
Well, let me bring down the intelligence level by doing commentary on that. No, actually, yeah, it's. I can see where Brack is coming from. I can see where you are coming from. I'd have to rewatch the movie to, come to a final decision. I can only say when I watched the movie, I think I watched it twice, not 3 times. I also would fall more on the side of Choo Choo, because
the movie's great.
Saw that racist. I saw that the movie was, framing some of the racial slurs as funny. It's funny that Clint Eastwood, as the character that he played, was saying that because he's, said it his way, and how the people react to that, and you just coming across this super bigoted fucking asshole who's very set in his way. That the movie was framing that as funny in a way, and that's maybe that is questionable. But I also feel like that the movie was not trying to say, okay, this in itself is an okay thing to do. It's just like there are these characters who behave this way, who are borderline racist, but even these people can change in a way. Maybe not their whole character because they're from a different generation, but that doesn't mean that these people with the right motivation can be also better people. And I felt like that was kind of a hopeful message. Like, you have this enormous fucking piece of shit character in the beginning that Clint Eastwood is, who is a racist, an asshole, who's like only for himself, like the only maybe good thing about him is his dog. And that even that asshole, even that piece of shit finds a way to become a better person in a way. Not entirely, no, he's still throwing out racial slurs. He's still, he's still being an asshole in a lot of ways. But at least he found some way to find a respect for people that he despised before. He found a different perspective on life. And I thought that was a kind of maybe mishandled in certain parts, but in itself is kind of a nice message. And so, yeah.
I got that message as well, but there are still moments in that movie where Clint Eastwood puts like those things like, lighten up about these racial slurs in his movie.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm pretty sure so. I never got that.
There are like the sequence where he's like with his barber, and there's like, we're just racist against each other. He's calling me like whatever, like Polish like nicknames, and we're gonna hear Italian nicknames, and it's all good because we're racist against each other. It's like, it's okay. There's sequences like that in the movie as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that's up to you as a person how you take that, bro.
No, the sequences are shot in a way and like presented in a way.
I'd have to rewatch that. But the problem is, I don't know if the person
Well,
that
the thing is,
that would make sense. But I would say that even maybe he doesn't want to say it like as a general statement, but like, okay, these are the way these characters are, and there are people in this world who behave like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that he that he condones that stuff, or
but
that you as the viewer should feel like you should condone it. That it's like, come on, lighten up, people. This is normal. Maybe it's just
well,
like, yeah, these characters exist in the world, and that's how they are, and that's how they act, and that's how they see the world. It's not necessarily.
Guys should really rewatch this movie.
yeah,
Okay.
For sure.
I'd like to
All
rewatch
right.
it. Actually, it's great. It's
Okay,
not
I'm
sure,
gonna
bro.
say one positive thing about the movie, just to like end it up. At some point, Clint Eastwood calls his son Scott Eastwood, who plays a character in the movie, a pussy. So that's pretty funny.
I watched Beverly Hills Cop 2, and I was really, really shocked by how fucking sexist, horribly sexist that movie is. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that same will happen to me when I watch Gran Torino.
Maybe I should rewatch that, but I think that was a movie that both myself and my wife really, really loved. That we both like really, really liked that movie. Yeah, so maybe I should rewatch it with her. So I guess coming on to the movie that I disliked, that critics loved, and here we go, people. This is a genuine, bona fide, Oscar-winning classic here, beloved by everyone, and I just don't fucking understand why. It's Raging Bull. Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull. Yes, I don't understand why that film is popular. Is it well acted? Yes, it is. Of course it is. It has Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci in it. Like, it's great. They're fantastic in the film. But ultimately, the plot line is just about like a guy who drinks too much and indulges a little bit in domestic violence and kind of ruins his career by his own choices. But it's very, very run of the mill. It's not exciting whatsoever. It's like, I always equate the film to a kitchen sink drama, like a British kitchen sink drama with boxing sequences. Like, everybody rages about how great everybody rages about how great the boxing sequences are. But they're just not that great. They're just alright. I mean, they're not boring or anything, but they're just not that good. There's no excitement to any of them. I mean, that's not really what the film's trying to do. I mean, it's not trying to excite you at the outcome of a bout or anything, unlike the Rocky films, but it's not particularly impressive fight choreography or interesting scenes. And ultimately, the storyline, nothing really much happens in that film. I mean, a guy kind of wrecks his life by being an asshole and drinking too much and beating his wife. Yeah, well, I didn't see that coming.
No.
Uh,
So it's just, I don't know, it's a well-acted, just simple drama. It's alright.
But
It's just...
you dislike it because it's so popular, right?
No, I don't dislike it. The thing is, with that film, though, Bragg, this is specifically why it's on this list. I love Martin Scorsese. I love his work. I love it, right? So it's one of those films I watched and I was like, I don't get it. And then I thought to myself, maybe I'm missing something. I must be missing something about this film. I watched it again. A few years later, I'm like, I should go back and watch Raging Bull. I'm sure I missed something. I watched it again. A few years later, I'm sure I missed something about Raging Bull. I watched it again. Every single time I've come to the same conclusion, that it's overrated as fuck. It's just, I don't understand quite why people love that movie. It's for want of a better word, it's boring. So anyway, that's my opinion on Raging Bull.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Holy shit.
I haven't seen it either, so it's one of those classics that's like, I should watch that one day, and out of the brain it goes.
For some reason in my mind, I think it's like a 4-hour long movie or something, so
It's
I've
not.
never watched it. No, it's like 2 hours, but for some reason in my mind, it's like, oh, this movie is like 4 hours, right? I will watch it some other time.
It's
But
not.
I watched The Color of Money twice, so...
The Color of Money is fucking awesome, though.
I know. I really
That
like
is-
it.
See, The Color of Money, that's exactly the point. The Color of Money is brilliant, but Raging Bull, you guys should go watch it and tell me what you think, because
Right.
I just
I
don't
will.
like
I
it.
will. At some point.
It's an incredibly well-acted film, though. Definitely, you can't fault the actors in it. They go for it. They're 100%. Their performance is excellent. So many, I could have been a contender, and the moment where Robert De Niro's like punching the fucking wall and like bloodying up his knuckles, and he actually really did that in real life. That's awesome and shit. That takes some method acting to do that, bloody up your own knuckles in a scene. But like, it's just a really boring fucking film when nothing fucking happens other than what you expect to happen. It's like, oh yes, I can see where this is going. This and this is gonna happen, and at the end of the movie, it's like, that's exactly what happened.
Are we still talking about Robin Hood or?
So anyway, let's get on to more positive stuff. I'm really sad that my co-host couldn't actually give it opinions on Raging Bull here, and I'm shocked they haven't watched it. So, you know, I don't know what that says about their filmic habits, but yeah, let's get on to more positive stuff.
The worst ones.
Yeah, again, it's all confusing. It all gets scrambled in my brain. But yes, movies that were critically derided, that we loved. Final round, round 2, Human Metal. What's next and last on
Let's
your
get
list?
trashy.
Okay, so we are re-going for. So I can't remember any of the fucking films you chose. See, that's how the fuck it. You guys are assholes. Carry on.
So, we talked about the Alien movies many times.
Wait, hang on a minute. Wait. Are you saying the Alien movies are trashy? Because I've got two fingers for your fucking eyes.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah, that's a goddamn true story.
Yeah. But you know, they're mixed bags. The Alien Predator versus Predator movie are considered to be not mixed bags. They are considered to be uniformly bad. And when I watched, I would agree in parts of the second one. Not in parts. I would completely agree with the second one being a piece of shit.
You mean Alien versus Predator 2?
Yeah. That's a piece of shit.
Yes, that is the worst movie of all time. It belongs in a small place in hell that is possibly also populated with Batman vs Superman. But still, Batman vs Superman is fucking Citizen Kane compared to Alien vs Predator 2.
Oh, definitely. Like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it was like, I totally agree with that. But when I watched the first one, I kind of liked it, and I rewatched it, and I still kind of like it. I don't know. This is again one of those movies where I was wondering what people were expecting, because I was expecting going into the movie. Okay, this is something kind of this is gonna be kind of a horror slasher thing, where at the end of the day there will be aliens fighting predators, and that's what I got, I guess. So what's the problem here? I mean, yes, some of those fight scenes could have been shot better, but and I didn't like that the focus was on the humans in certain parts. But I got a predator teaming up with the human, fucking up an alien queen in a kind of badass showdown, and fucking up, not fucking choo-choo. Change your face.
I just fucking up an alien queen. I just imagined I just imagined an alien queen getting raped. Sorry.
She only does raping.
Those eggs have got to come from somewhere, buddy.
Yeah. Anyway, I kind of enjoyed that movie for what it was. Like, I know it's trash in a way, but I thought like for the stuff that Paul W.S. Anderson has done, it's kind of alright. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Event Horizon. This is probably his worst movie. Like,
no way. Death Race kicks this movie's ass for sure.
Death Race is also great. Yeah. It's hard. And I haven't seen some of the more recent Resident Evil movies, so are supposed to be also trash gold. So I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I still, for what it was, reading the comics, Aliens vs Predator comics, Batman versus Aliens versus Predator comics. The only thing that movie was missing for me was Batman. So I thought, this is, I got what I wanted from this. Yeah, maybe the fights could have been shot a bit better, but aside from that, there were enough fun parts in this, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was dumb fun for me. So I didn't get why everyone hated on this. I don't know what they were expected. The first Predator movie was also not a very intelligent movie. So why I mean, were people expecting something on the level of fucking Alien and Aliens? Like, no, this was never gonna be that. Like, what were what were you expecting from this movie? Are you insane? I don't get it. So yeah, this was always bound to be dumb, mindless fun, and that's what I got, and it was pulled off rather well. So yeah, at least you could see stuff, unlike in the second
Yes.
Alien vs Predator movie where you
Man.
couldn't see shit.
Yes,
So-
that goddamn Alien
That's the
vs
most
Predator
positive
2. Like,
thing you can say about it.
Yeah.
You
No,
can
it's
see
one of the
stuff.
positive things. I said many other positive things before this. So.
I think like
Fuck off,
when the studio told the directors of Alien vs Predator 2, it's like, you got to go darker. They took
Yeah.
it literally.
R-rated because the first one was
Oh.
PG-13. People didn't like that.
No, they literally took it literally. They literally made it darker.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, nobody can see shit. All right, Brack. Any opinions on Alien vs Predator before I give my lengthy opinions on that movie?
Please
it
don't
short.
make it too lengthy.
I'm not gonna keep it lengthy. It's not. How can you ever possibly have a lengthy conversation about Alien vs Predator? There's nothing lengthy to say about that film.
I don't really
You
care
can
about Alien vs.
you can
Predator.
pull anything off Human Metal as long as it's male.
I've never watched the full movie. I've only watched clips of it, so I don't really.
Fucking hell.
Well, that's
Well,
all right.
I think it's better.
It's not
It's
a must-watch. If you happen...
I've seen
Ross?
like the fights.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the kills.
Yeah.
I've seen like the wrestling fights where like Alien vs Predator are like just straight up wrestling. Let's be honest, it's like a wrestling fight. And I've seen some of the other fight sequences, but I haven't seen the full movie. And I think I'm better for it. I've seen the better parts of that movie.
Probably.
All right, yeah, Chuchu, take it away.
All right, so one of the reasons the Alien vs Predator movie was disappointing was because everybody who's a huge Alien vs Predator fan read the comic books, and the comic books are awesome, especially the first graphic novel, Alien vs Predator. It's fucking excellent. Yeah, it really, really was a great graphic novel, and they didn't capture anywhere near the quality of that. So that aside, the movie's great. It's great. It's so much fun. It's just stupid fun. I disagree with Human Metal that the fight scenes could have been filmed better. I think they were exactly the trashy shit that they should have been. At one point, a predator grabs an alien by the tail and swings it around and smashes columns with it. That's just awesome.
I don't mean like the fight choreography could have been better. I mean like in terms of camera placement and everything, some of the stuff was not as well. It wasn't as bad like as Alien vs Predator 2 in terms of visibility and everything. But
Human Metal,
you know,
you're never gonna make art out of an alien fighting a predator.
No,
no
of
matter
course
how we
not.
frame it.
It's just
it's
you
just
know,
not gonna happen.
if you know your action stuff, and I would argue that Paul W.S. Anderson at least knows his action stuff.
Oh yeah, he
then
knows.
some scenes could have been shot better.
He knows how to rip off the Matrix real good.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, there would have been. It's just some scenes could have been shot a bit better, but it's not like they're super bad or anything. I didn't say that.
Okay, just to get onto a really nitpicky point, like you were saying, one thing I don't understand is what happened to the guy with the scar on his face. You know, the Irish guy. I don't know. He's in various different things. I think he might have been in the Boondock Saints. No, he's the guy always confused with Reedus. Anyway,
Okay.
what happens to him is incredibly unclear in that film. He's like a very interesting character, like the tough guy character, like, oh, I fucking carry a big fucking gun, I'm gonna fucking kill every fucking thing, like that type of guy. And then he's in a tunnel, and an alien comes running towards him, and then he gets taken upwards. I never understood what the fuck happened to him. That's bad directing.
Yes, he's supposed to be like grabbed by another alien or something. I don't know.
Probably dead. I'm
Yeah,
guessing
he's
dead.
definitely
I'm
dead.
just guessing he's dead.
But anyway, but there are some
it's been a
things in
while.
there I don't like. But there are so many great scenes in Alien vs Predator 2. No, there's not a single great scene in Alien vs Predator 2. I take that back. But there are so many great scenes that all the fight scenes are great. There's the scene where, like, for example, the facehugger's gonna try to get the predator and it jumps at him and he just immediately slices it in half with his disc. Like, it's just so much fun. And the fight scenes and the alien queen fight at the end It's like super trashy, but it's great fun. The scene where that alien queen is like running through like the whale bones and stuff, it's just great cinematic stuff. The thing with Bishop and stuff, like getting killed by an alien and a predator, it's great stuff. Like he got killed by Lance Henriksen got killed by an alien in Aliens, and then got killed by a predator in Alien versus Predator. That's great fun. Like, he also got killed by a Terminator as well in Terminator. So he's done the triple. He's got the triple crown, whereas Bill Paxton has the double, being killed by an alien and a predator. But like, I don't know, there are so many fun scenes in that film, so many great death scenes, like Colin Salmon, like with the net thing, like getting the net digs into his head, and it's great stuff. And they also give one particular alien personality as well, the net alien thing that gets the net burned into its skull, and then becomes like the main alien. But the thing is, like, unfortunately, one of my sort of minor complaints about the film, they never pay that off, because you never get to see that alien die properly, which is sad. Oh.
All right.
I wish given that kind of like that character kind of like a major send off. So anyway, that's Alien vs Predator 2. Let's switch up. Brack, what's next on your list?
Next on my list is a movie that I think is lower rated than Aliens vs Predator. I'm not sure. Maybe. I could check, but I'm not going to check. I'm talking, of course, about the brilliant video game inspired movie called Gamer. Gamer is a movie by the guys from Crank, and it shows. It definitely shows. This movie is bonkers. It's so over the top and insane that I can't help but have like fun with it. It's like, I don't know, it's like it's a greasy burger, like an insanely burger, and they put like extra grease on it, and it's like 5 layers of cheese, and you know it's bad for you, and it doesn't even look all that tasty, but for some reason while eating it you have a good time. That's what Gamer is for me. Like, it's extremely violent, the dialogue is insane. Like, there's like some like there's sequences where like they were talking about like, oh, that's so close. That's like Contair close. That's like words from that movie. It's bonkers. Like Dexter is in it. Like Michael C. Hall is in it.
Right. He's a bad corporate guy, right?
Yeah, he's a bad corporate guy, and he's like he's playing Steve Jobs at one point. And he's like playing like Bill Gates at one. And at another point, he's playing literally like doing like a Bruce Lee impression for like. And there's like dance sequences in there.
Yeah, it's a dance sequence. I remember that.
And Terry Crews is like trying to intimidate like Gerard Butler while he's like completely naked, like covered in blood, which is like Ludacris is a hacker in it, which is like weird because he's also a hacker in the Fast and Furious movies. So probably these movies are connected, at least in my mind, because that would fit. This movie is like just bonkers. It's completely bonkers. And I've heard that the directors were like completely like high out of their minds while making it, and that shows as well.
Great. Fuck, I thought the movie was boring. Why
boring?
Why do I think that? Yeah, why do I think that?
It's like an hour and a half, and there's like at least like...
No, I mean, I haven't watched it, but I've like... For some reason in my mind, I thought I heard it was boring, but this sounds amazing. So
it's not boring at all. It's extremely not boring.
All right, I will watch it.
Weird second life in this as well, because like in this movie, people can control other people, like playing a game, right? So, but there's also like a second life with actual people in there, which is also insane, where like people just walk around like robots, and they're like super colorful clothing, and like it's bonkers. It's just bonkers. It's like, I'm not sure how to describe this movie. It's just so insane.
There was a friend of mine who had a big bushy beard and spectacles who once summed up a movie I loved in the same way that I'm going to describe this. It's boring as fuck.
Really? Boring as fuck?
It's boring as fuck. That film was shit. I literally rated it a 1 on Metacritic. It's shit. It's flat out crap, Brack.
Like, I can see you finding it bad, but I can't see you finding it boring.
Oh, I fucking found it so boring. I wanted to stop watching it. It was tiresome. It's just boring.
So what you're saying is, Gamer is your Robin Hood.
Yeah,
from Rex's
I
perspective.
think so.
Interesting.
I really did not like that movie. I thought it was offensive also I thought it was offensive to gamers in general because it just
Oh yeah,
the whole
there is-
message of the fact is like gamers are like this Call of Duty obsessed idiot violence loving motherfuckers who like get their jollies just fucking jiving to people getting eviscerated and all start
So
cheering.
far, I've heard nothing that isn't true.
I agree
You
with
also
you.
forget to add racist, sexist, trolling people of shit. Like gamers are a lot of bad things. So the movie,
Yeah.
I don't know, they spared some
Like,
of us.
like I agree with you that is pretty offensive to gamers, but boring. Come on, this movie is fucking insane.
I was literally bored during the film. I did not
Like
like it
maybe
at all,
like
Bragg.
because of sensory overload or something. Like,
No, I just didn't like it. I thought
Okay.
the action sequences, for example, the action sequences in the film were boring as shit for me, personally. I couldn't latch on. The only sequence I really remember which caught my attention was kind of fun was the dancing sequence. That was just so out there that was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun. The whole crazy like zombie dancing sequence. But other than that, like the film was a bona fide piece of shit. I just did not jive with it at all, not even remotely, not even like in a trashy sense of having fun. It's just like this movie
so
is
yeah,
grade A crap.
I had trashy fun with this movie. Like a lot of trashy fun. And I also like always like to remember this friend of mine. We were like going to the movie theater and we had a choice between seeing District 9 or Gamer.
Fucking hell.
And
What
I,
a pickle!
and I really wanted to see District 9. And he didn't want to see District 9, so we went to see Gamer.
Oh God.
And every time like we talk about movies, I always get shit about it. Because he really wanted to see Gamer over District 9.
Well, did he eventually watch District 9?
Yes, and he didn't like it, so...
What?
But did he
God
like
damn.
Gamer?
He thought it was like a film by like an epileptic, like 12-year-old throwing like a camera in the toilet. So,
Oh. All right.
and he's not that wrong.
He obviously doesn't like movies. All right, so I guess that kind of brings us on to the last one on movies that we liked, but critics didn't like. So we already talked about Alien vs Predator 2.
No.
Well, so I,
kinda.
One.
oh yes, Alien. Wait, we also talked about it. No, I mean, we also talked about Alien vs Predator 2, as in like 2, as in as well as.
Okay, TOO.
Although we literally did talk about Alien vs Predator 2, so both are covered, I guess. But before I get onto my pick, I will say that I want to throw a quick shout out to the Underworld series, which is
Alright.
critically derided, but I just genuinely love. Like, so I guess we're going to have to do this without Brack because unfortunately Brack has been called off to dinner. It's dinner time for Brack. He is literally going to go eat a plate of... What do you think Brack eats for dinner, Human Metal? Call it.
Something that makes him high, probably.
So, like big blocks of weed. I don't know, if you eat weed, does it make you high? I'm not sure. I mean, I hope he's not eating big blocks of cocaine. That sounds very damaging for your health.
Maybe. Who knows?
I'd like to think of like a Brack eating like big plates of bananas myself. Somehow that just suits his character. Maybe a little bit of shit on the side.
Good lord.
All right. Anyway, so my final movie on this list. Like I say, I want to throw a quick shout out to the Underworld series, which I personally love. That's just trashy crap. That somehow, like, I know it's trashy crap, but I like it anyway. But my major number one is Predator 2. Because that movie just gets, like, when people look at the kind of like those franchises, Predator 2 always gets forgotten, or historically it's critically derided, but I just love it. It's a hugely indispensable piece of my childhood. And it's just a fucking excellent movie. When you think of Predator 2, think of the really great scenes like that from that movie. You have Bill Paxton on the train, on the subway train. You know, Leona, get those people out of here. Come on, motherfucker, let's dance. And given like one of the greatest death scenes in movie history, it's just absolutely brilliant. Piece of Bill Paxton gold. You have Gary Busey, the other great dyer in movie history, as well as Lance Henriksen, who does the typical thing, which has become like the staple of like SF movies with monsters on them, as those kind of scientific army guys who go in there to catch the monster with all the guns and stuff, and they all get fucking killed. It's brilliant. It's absolutely perfect. And he has that classic quote where Danny Glover's like fighting the alien, and suddenly he comes back from the dead and gives the classic line, "Get out of here, Harrigan. I'm going to save your ass. It's between me and him." And then immediately gets killed in a horrific fashion. It's absolutely brilliant. You got like the guy who climbs up into the rafters to like pick a piece of like Predator technology from the ceiling. The main partner of like the hero of the film who gets killed in the classic, like, you know, as soon as he walks into that room, you know he's gonna die. But just like the first Alien with Brett, who's looking for the cat, you just know he's going to die, but it's fun to see it anyway. It just covers all the tropes, has a great end battle sequence, has lots of humor, has lots of excessive, like, early 90s gore, where it's just overkill, where everybody's just, like, exploding with these giant ass squibs and stuff. It's just a ton of fun, got decent effects, great stuff. I think it's a trashy, perfect sequel to the first Predator film. It's not as good as the first Predator film, but it isn't far off in my opinion. It's just so much fun. It just knows exactly what it's going for. I don't know what people expected from that film. Did they really expect Predator to turn out like an Alien style sequel that took like everything and just made it deeper and more complex?
Maybe,
but it didn't. But it did make a piece of trashy gold that my childhood would not have been complete without. How about you, Human Metal? What do you think about Predator 2?
Oh, I like the movie a lot. Like, it's difficult for me because the first one is one of my favorite action movies ever, probably one of my favorite movies ever. I consider this to be like one of the best action things, period. Like, in terms of, yeah.
But did you know, Human Metal, that movie was absolutely fucking trashed upon its initial release. It was trashed. The first Predator. Even now, it's got 16 on Metacritic. 16!
The first or the second one?
The first one. 16.
Okay. I don't get that. I think it's amazing. I think it's got brilliant. All the things you want from a stupid action 80s action movie. I think it's got a great setting, you know, in the jungle and everything. It's got a great like introduction, set up, everything for the Predator. And how you know, the reveal and everything, and how the Predator looks is amazing and unique. And that could have turned out so bad if you watched the making of the first one, where John McTiernan talks about, or Stan Winston, I don't know. John McTiernan talks about it. How they initially, what they got was like this weird, I don't know, headless alien creature that looks super dumb, and you see like test footage, and it's hilarious. And then they changed that and put an actual guy in the suit and everything, and made the face weird and stuff. So yeah, I think everything about this is cool. I love creature horror. I love cool alien creatures that are scary and that are like powerful and that look awesome. And I think Predator is like one of the best examples for that. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is amazing in this role. I think the side characters are cool. This is fun. It's like there are cool action scenes, there are cool gore scenes. The score is amazing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on all those points. One thing you said, the side characters are amazing. That's one of the things with Predator that I think is absolutely fucking essential. The side characters, like, so the original Predator was made initially as like an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle, right?
Yeah.
It was made as a typical kind of example of like an action movie for him, but it transcended Arnold Schwarzenegger. So when you think of Predator, what do you remember? It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's the Predator, right? It's the monster.
Yes. I mean, you remember Arnold too, but you definitely remember the Predator first. Yes,
exactly.
That's why it got so iconic. I mean, there's a reason for why people wanted an Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason. There's a reason why still Predator movies are being made today. Like there is a new one coming by one of the guys who was playing and writing the script for the first one. So,
but but when you think about the supporting cast of Predator, it's fucking amazing. The guy who plays like Mac, for example. example, the guy, like it's very very simple, but the way that Mac is really cut up about his friend's loss, when he comes back, I'm gonna cut your name into him. Like it's really simple stuff, but that really makes that character pop. And Dylan as well, like the guy played by Carl Weathers, who has like his redemption arc, who fucks up at the beginning, but eventually is like, we both got scars to settle. Goes off with those double machine guns. That's fucking badass, cool, man. Those characters are lifted way, way above like monster fodder, like the usual monster movie.
Smaller parts. Like I like. I like Jesse Ventura's character. He's fun. Like he has one of the best one-liners in history, like in movie history, in my opinion. I ain't got time to bleed. Yeah.
Also stuff like the this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me. Yeah, stick this on your sorry ass, Blaine.
It's amazing. Like Billy's a cool character too. Like there's so many cool characters in this, and it's just it's a cool setting, cool story, everything. So that all being said, it's super tough just for me to stack Predator 2 up to that, because to me it just can't compete with the first one because I love the first one so much. That being said, I also really like the second one. I think it's cool, like you said, it's really enjoyable, cool, well-made trash. It changes the setting to something I would have loved to see. If you have asked me, where do you want to see the series go next? Well, send the Predator to fucking big city and let him go wild there. And they did that. So yeah that's great. So yeah, of course you don't get, not of course. I mean, today you would do that, but the chances of someone going with a minigun, like, in a normal city or something, and just trying to mow down the fucking Predator, like that iconic scene from the first, that's not going to happen. It feels, in certain parts, it feels a lot more small scale than the first one, even though it's got a bigger cast. But just the setting alone in the city, and the encounters with the Predator are happening, like in the subway train and in the warehouse and stuff like that. Those feel a bit more constrained, and maybe I didn't like that as much as I liked the big open threatening space of the jungle in the first one. That gave the Predator even more power in my opinion, and made him this more overpowered creature. And he felt, I don't know, in the second, he just didn't feel as powerful. He gets his arm cut off and everything. So, it just feels like it makes sense. It's always a new Predator coming down to Earth because it's a ritual for them, like, a sign of growth and everything. And, it just could be a more inexperienced Predator. That's totally fine. And sure, why not? But, he felt a bit cooler in the first one. Aside, the cast of characters is amazing, like you said in the second one. I love Danny Glover also in this, and I think the final fight is amazing. Yeah. And just the final scene where like the other Predators come out of the turn off their invisibility cloaks, and just one of them like picks an old gun and gives it to fucking Danny Glover. It's like, okay, you earned this. It was such an amazing scene, man. I was like, yeah, respect. It's cool stuff. Like this added so much mythologically and character to the Predators. Like, okay, they're in this for the sport and for the glory, and if someone beats them, that is fair game. He has done his part. He won it. They won't kill him off. It's like, okay, you earned this and you won our game. The end. And we won't begrudge you for killing one of ours because he lost in a fair competition. And it's amazing. It's like, okay, these are just make them, the whole alien race of the Predators, so much more interesting and everything. So, yeah. So, just cool expansion on like the whole franchise, and maybe not as high budget or anything as the first one, but still, with what they got, I think it was pretty damn amazing. Yeah. So great fun.
Also, like you say, like world building. There's also a couple of things that tie into like the Predator lore, like the way that the Predator doesn't kill kids. Like, there's a scene where the kid in the graveyard has like a toy gun, and he's like, you die, scum sucking dog, and something like that. And the Predator
he doesn't consider them to be a threat or not worthy of attention because they're not not dangerous game.
Exactly, so, which kind of sets up the Predator as the good guy. You have the very initial craze setting of Alien versus Predator, because the Predator has an alien skull in its collection of skulls at the end of Predator 2, which is, everybody who saw that is like, oh my god, look at that. Also, like, the subway scene, which I always like, is the first scene I remember when I think of that. The scene where the punks are trying to rob someone, and then every single person on the train pulls a firearm out their purse. It's just like says everything you need to know about American culture. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And then they're all killed by the
Social
predator.
commentary for you.
Yeah, it's like, and then they're all murdered by the predator. It's hilarious. So just desserts for being American, you pricks. I don't know. That movie's just
The release of
great
the
fun.
first Predator. I think I still need to get that if there is one. But yeah, I think those are very enjoyable 80s action trash fairs. Or was Predator 2 already in the 90s?
Yeah, it was
remember.
19. I think it was literally 1990, right bang on the money.
All right, but yeah, it's still those. Considering what time they were made in, they still hold up. And I think just like you, I think the second one gets much too bad of a rap. I think it's really enjoyable stuff.
And if you want to send out a small tribute to Bill Paxton, that is literally one of his best roles. He's so fun. He's the highlight of that film without question. Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah,
he really is.
As he is in many films or productions.
What was his classic line in that film? It's the one where everything that comes up, he always replies to the lieutenant, "Hey, Lieutenant, it's my specialty." That's it. That's what he does. Like anything that the guy ever says, that's his reply. Okay, so if you have any movies that you liked but the critics didn't like, or vice versa, please sound off in the comment section. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's Visit to the Ocean Floor. And with that, please join us next time you see a hassa, which I'm led to believe is a pig that don't fly straight.